fine.
You're messing with it, man.
I didn't touch shit. I didn't touch a goddamn thing.
It was just a more
I didn't
dramatic
touch
part of the
one
song.
fucking goddamn
Is that all it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a more dramatic part of the song.
You don't have to be upset. It just suddenly changed.
Oh my god, I didn't touch anything.
Okay, well, let's keep going.
I didn't do that.
All right, game over, man. Let's go.
That's fun, guys. Thanks.
Oh,
Can we play some D&D?
Fuck off everything technological ever.
Thanks for everybody who put up with all of that. That loud waiting. Actually, you couldn't hear it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Catching you up, when we last left our intrepid group, we were sleeping in the Lolalolt, which we had gotten to after doing a scouting mission far to the south. Let me go ahead and put the map on over here. Where we had made our way down to almost a Baelgriff, but not quite there, and encountered an army, which we ran from very, very, very quickly and cowardly, and then followed some bloody tracks into the woods so that we could get back to Mayor Grayson, who had left Kilpeck to seek refuge in the settlement in the Lolalolt, making our way through the woods very, very swiftly because of the skills of Folker. We encountered some goblins, which we did not interact with. Instead, we skirted past them, which will probably end up being the death of everybody. And then made our way to receive our payment with the refugees. In a very frustrating scene, we did not get paid the amount that we had been promised, which made everybody very, very sad. Some people more testy than others, but I was okay. I still picked the coins up off the ground. And then, strangely, as we were camping in one of these houses, we saw, even before then, this weird hole was encountered in the cistern where people were bathing. And going in there were weird voices heard and a little bit of investigation, but we left it to the guards. And then later on that night, the guards left and a shadowy figure made their way into the cistern, which we investigated. We missed the shadowy figure. The shadowy figure darted out. We tried to keep an eye on him, but could not. And then we raised the alarm and got the guards to come and check it out. They found nothing. We found the hole was still there, but pretty much led nowhere. So with the guards summoned, we decided to call it a night and hope we didn't die in our sleep. I had letters from our fans that I was going to read, but we can skip that and do that.
No, please.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
Okay. Actually, I'd gotten 2 letters. I drew them at random because I didn't want to take them from take up too much time.
Has your mother been writing you that much?
It's my mom's name. That's actually totally my mom's name.
Artha?
Yeah, so for this comes from Alana in Little Rock, and she says, is anybody else as worried as I am about Hanoa's patron? Obviously, she's a warlock from the encounter on the bridge. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you guys think that that's going to catch up to you? Any thoughts?
10.
Yeah, I think it's a 10. I think it's probably...
I'm doing fine. It's cool.
I don't think we're going to last long enough for it to catch up to us.
That's fair.
Pretty sure we're just going to be fine.
And then I got
Just
another...
show up in hell. My patron's going to be like, oh, fuck it.
Why do I even bother?
All right, and the second letter I have is from Matt in Pittsburgh, a different Matt, but he says, and I'll have to read this. Why yins all such pansies? Why do you run from everything? What are you so scared of? Exclamation!
Everything.
They're scared of the stats, Matt. Scared of the stats.
Those scary, scary stats.
Okay, those were just the 2. I just thought I'd randomly take 2 of them from the email, and I didn't read them beforehand, so there was just that. All right, so do we wake up? That's going to be a good question.
Let's.
No.
That's what you guys have been worried about, is if you're going to wake up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, which side of the dirt are we waking up on?
The bright side of the dirt.
The bright side
So hell?
of the dirt.
Always waking up right side of the dirt.
We have a title for this one.
No.
The bright side of the dirt.
That's the title of today's episode.
Indeed.
That's
Well,
that's the top. The bottom side is the dark side of the dirt.
we're all bottoms in this game. All right, Matt, take her away. Paint us word pictures.
Use some word pictures. Okay. Barman sits cross-legged, leaning his back against a stout dark wood post, gently plinking absently at his lute, eyes staring off into the distance. Periodically adjusting the top two strings, the tuning knobs have been stripped for years. The rest of the group lie around the hot coals, deep in slumber. Once the guards took up posts and the group lay around the fire, it took no time for the heavy eyes to close and awarenesses to fade. Barman, having slept through most of the excitement, stayed awake, plinking away. The gentle sounds of the lute and the occasional baritonal stanzas ease the group into a deep and restful sleep. Barman draws his bedroll closer as the wind picks up. A cold front's moving through overnight, and the wind gently howling down the hillsides. The wind swirls the mists and the drizzle around, dampening the encampment. Places a couple more logs onto the fire, bringing back some heat. The swirling winds fuel the flames, and his sleeping companions do not stir. The group finally does begin to awaken to the cold, wet morning. It is several hours past dawn. There are clay bowls nearby covered with cloth. Barman says, leaning against the post with closed eyes, "I saw her drop them off, but I didn't want to startle her. They're still warm." The bowls contain a thick porridge. Ground cinnamon garnishes the top. A clay plate with a clear glaze holds a mound of pickled tiny whole fish and several chunks of stewed goat. A dark nut loaf of bread wrapped in cloth is nearby. A clay decanter that appears to have been recently repaired sits steaming. The spice from the mulled wine can be smelled in the shifting wind. The camp appears to be awake, but moving about slowly in the cold, rainy morning. The guards still man their posts at the cistern's entrance.
Oh,
Didn't you hear me?
thanks, barman. I'm gonna eat breakfast, try to warm up because it sounds cold.
It's
It
colder
is.
than a witch's tit over here.
Speaking of, I found out like
wasn't
what
gonna
that
say
comes
it.
from.
Which is a brass bra. Brass bra. Wow, my Carsaloo's coming out.
Is that what you call them?
Oh,
That's what I call them. Yeah.
yes, the wind is swirling about. It's not full raining, but it's just blowing this dry mist and drizzle everywhere with the wind swirling.
It's a dry mist.
Not
It's
the
a
dry
dry-
mist.
it's
I
the
meant
driest mist.
It's a dry heat.
it's a dry mist, man. It's a light mist is what I meant to say. Light mist and kind of light rain, but it swirls about and it's extremely cold. It's extremely cold water.
Who else is in this room with us?
Nobody's in a room. You're still in that. You're in that.
Long
The
house?
roof.
long- Yeah, the roofed longhouse that has kind of walls, but it's also open. So
It's very Asian chic.
So
Well, I will eat my fill.
Yup.
Yeah,
Breakfast.
Folker can't get enough of this nut loaf. So
Yeah, I feel like the pickled fish would make everything else come back up, so I'm going to skip the pickled fish.
I will eat your pickled fish and your breakfast.
I'll eat porridge and nut loaf.
nobody.
actually
You're not gonna.
gonna-
You don't want the stewed goat either.
I'll have stewed goat. That sounds okay. It's something about pickled stuff with oatmeal seems wrong.
See, for breakfast, I usually have more of a savory breakfast. I do not want to have your sweet cinnamon porridge.
I'm gonna look at the porridge and some of the wine and go, wonder if. And just start combining it.
Does she have another idea?
I have an idea.
oh,
I'm gonna take the cloth and
I do check the bottom of the porridge for blood
Jesus.
because I do not want the knife.
For the golden kid.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the cloth and wrap the nut loaf and some of the little tiny fish and put them in my pack and
Okay.
eat the porridge.
yeah, as much nut loaf as we.
Well,
How much
yeah,
nut
you
loaf as
reckon
you can fit in this boy.
Man,
you
let's-
recognize the nut loaf. It's the same. Apparently it's the same recipe or whatever that you guys had eaten back in Kilpack.
It's probably the same loaf.
It's probably no.
Same cook. Same cook.
It's
Same
the same
cook.
nut baker. I'm seriously. I'm gonna squirrel away as much of that as soon as everyone's. It's like one for now, one for later, one for now, one for later. I'm going to purposefully and slowly try to squirrel away as much nut
No.
loaf as I can.
Nobody eats bread for breakfast. Put that in your bag. We will eat the stewed meat. We will eat the
We
porridge.
eat the perishable.
Nobody eats bread or
Bread?
pickled fish for breakfast.
Someone tries to take a bite, I just like smack it out. I'm like,
No, you bitch.
that goes in
I'm
inventory,
not.
in
I'm not
mouth.
joking. How much nut loaf can I squirrel away here?
It's one loaf. It's essentially like
like this
maybe
big?
3/4 of a pound.
I'm gonna put that in my inventory.
So it's
Take
about like,
it.
it's about like this.
All right. Well, I mean,
It would, if
look like-
it was split 5 ways, it would be essentially 1/3 of what you need.
right. So I'm going to go try to find whoever made the nut loaf. I'm gonna follow my way
Nut
to
loaf.
the home of the nut loaf.
Wait.
Where you going, Folker?
Folker, wait, hold on. This
we
is
need provisions.
Have some wine porridge.
That's your.
that's disgusting.
your
Nah, I mean,
It's warage.
lady.
it's porridge.
So, I mean,
Spiced
Whether-
warage.
whether we stay here for the rest of our damn lives, however long that might be, or whether we leave 5 minutes from now, we're gonna need to know what the situation is with food. I ain't gonna trust someone to bring me meals every damn time I want to eat. So I want to find out who's got the food, because I'm out. Unless you guys want to just count on finding more rabbits and hope we get lucky. I figure finding someone that can, at least finding who's got it when we need it. seems
Well,
like a
yeah,
good
I mean,
idea.
that's a good idea.
It'd be foolish to just not take advantage of the situation. We're still welcome
Absolutely.
here. So yes, we need to find all this provisions we can get, especially if we're still planning on leaving.
I mean, do we just want to go now and get the provisions and go?
Go-
Wouldn't you want to talk to your friends?
What?
That mayor guy?
Who has friends?
I mean, you might be my
Yeah,
friend.
we want to talk to Ned Ryerson. So,
Grayson.
oh, I said it right.
He did. He did.
Ned what?
He did insurance.
I don't understand.
I know. That makes it even better.
I didn't hear it. You just said Ned Frierson?
Ryerson.
Ryerson.
Ryerson. I don't know who that
I
is.
don't get either.
Don't worry, Matt. It's going over my head too.
We'll go. I get some provisions. We'll go out hunting, see if I can find some groundhog.
As if his
Or something.
ears were burning, you do guys notice that Mayor Ned Grayson, is making his way over towards where you guys are all kind of sitting. And he's kind of got his hand over his eyes like this to ward off the cold mist and light rain. And so he's kind of doing one of those like half trots where he kind of walks fast towards you guys.
It's proven not to work.
And then gets underneath into the longhouse and right by the fire, which he had Barman had stoked up pretty good just about an hour ago. So it's a real good flame going right now. And he kind of gets over there and looks around and says, warms his hands up, and you kind of see him kind of like when he's underneath there, his overcoat and everything kind of steam as like the cold water gets real close to the heat. You can kind of see just the steam coming off of his back and the top of his head as he's getting warm, and sits around and looks at everybody and looks, and you've got food and everybody's kind of eating and finishing up, and your porridge bowls are empty for some of you.
Nothing beats a morning fire, huh, Mayor?
I was waiting to say it. Nothing beats a morning fire.
Nothing beats a morning fire.
He
I
beats
said, "Oh, well, this is a decent morning fire." He's like, "Man, I can't stand it when there's just smoke. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like that's the worst thing in the world if you've got a morning fire that just smokes. Like this is producing flame and heat." So, so he so then he turns around and says, "Well, what are you guys gonna do? That was kind of crazy last night, right? I mean, what happened?
I don't know. I think your friend stepped in some dick.
Ask him how long ago Lord Maldomus left.
He thinks back and he says, Willard left about this would be day 4 now.
4 days ago.
Yeah.
And does he know when Lord Cull is planning on marching?
He
West?
says he does not know when. He says that he should be he expects to have an audience, or at least see and talk with Noble Cull sometime this morning. He suspects. As you guys are sitting there and speaking with Mayor Grayson, who, after just a few minutes, kind of looks around and tries to find a place and pulls up, just a stump and kind of sits down just next to you guys. Everybody's kind of on the ground. He's not standing lording above you. You notice some movement going, like, just between where you guys are, between you and the cistern. There's a group of people that is moving from your guys' right towards the left, which would be from your guys' right towards the long hall. The long hall, the one where last night apparently there was some revelry going on, and that you guys didn't enter, but they're moving towards that, and that's where you know that that Noble Cull has been staying inside that long hall. Moving across, you can see that there's a very tall human. I mean, you're guessing that he is well over close to 6'5". Doesn't appear to be real big or anything, but just very tall, bald head with a jet black beard, which goes from the entire face going down to about almost to his stomach. Wearing all black clothing and this long black robe. He's also walking with a curled and curved oak staff. He gives you guys just a stare, and you can't read too much about his face, but he's just looking at you guys as he's walking. Behind him are 2 females, both in armor. One carrying a shield and an axe. Another one appears to have 2 swords. Behind him, both of them, is another human that is also fairly tall, not quite as tall as the first man, but he has short, slick back hair and a thin mustache, and he doesn't even seem to pay you guys much of attention. You can't see much of his clothing. He also has like a black sort of cloak or cape, and then behind them, absently just reading a book, it appears to be that there's some sort of friar who's walking. He's pale skinned with brown hair, and he's got a friar haircut, and he's just got a brown robe with a white rope belt, and he's trailing behind them. And none of them seem to pay any attention to you other than the very, very tall Blackbeard human.
Are they within 60 feet?
Within 60 feet? No, not within 60 feet.
I'm gonna lean over towards the mayor. Are those the goshawks? Is that what they were called?
My thoughts as
well. He looks over and says, "Yeah, those are the goshawks. Those are Noble Culls. That's their men, his men.
They look capable.
They're known to be ferocious, but they do have a stellar reputation for getting things done."
Mayor Grayson, what are our chances of being held here against our will? We're friends. We go back a little bit.
He says that he does not know, and he doesn't want to tell you. He doesn't think that that's possible, but he's not going to rule it out. He says, but as far as he's concerned, you guys are under his employment. I mean, but I don't know if that's going to be superseded by the noble. I'm not quite sure. He says he's thought of that, but doesn't consider it a real possibility.
If we were to try and get out of here and go hook up with Willard and his men and see if we could do some work there, would you be able to help us get out of here?
He looks around and lowers his voice and says, I could definitely help you guys get out of here. I mean, I don't foresee anybody trying to stop you, even if you're like physically try to stop you, even if you were ordered to go. I don't think that would be something that would be done. But he says catching up with Willard might be difficult. You definitely could do that. But if I'm going to make my guess, I'm going to guess that Willard would rather you be here and maximizing your efforts in this direction. Mainly because of what your skill set would be completely lost within an army. It's just not what, when I discussed it and brought you guys into my employment, we thought about bringing you guys with the army, helping out and starting that, but I just don't feel that, and Willard at that time agreed that your skill set of being a small group that can work together and in total honesty with giving your superiors in such a small group would work well in an army. I think you guys would get enfolded and split up, and I just don't think that would be beneficial. Like, I don't think your guys' skills would be used that way, which is why I proposed, and he obviously points over and to Abel and says, and this is why we proposed this.
So we're gonna be the Willhawks. Goshawks?
Yeah.
Willhawks? Sorry.
It's catchy. The
I'm gonna
Willhawks.
It's a
keep
good
drinking
name.
some of this wine.
Mayor,
The wine is very good, and it's very it's actually you've had this mulled wine before. This is actually a little bit more alcoholic, so it feels really good. I mean, it's
This
like
warms your insides.
yes, this is a very warming drink.
Quick question: how do you spell coal?
Cull.
I was spelling it like coal.
Cull.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Wow, that's the only way I haven't spelled
I
it.
agree. The same way. Mayor, just to be specific, when you say working more towards the front here, do you mean working in the service of Noble Coal to push off the Omani, or do you mean protecting the Lolalolt?
I mean protecting the Lolalolt, and these people here, and there's various other interests which I like the army, and we feel like the army, and I guess now this other group is kind of ignoring the Lolalolt and possibly even the Guzak Brisk. So there's a lot of unknowns within this forested area that we just don't know. And a small group led by an accomplished forester can, I think, move and accomplish as a scout team and as a small, I wouldn't presume strike force, but I don't know if I have a better name for it.
Accomplish what? We've warned you guys of trouble to the south, and no one's listening.
We need to get
I'm
proof.
100% listening.
Yeah, but you have nothing to do anything with.
I mean, I'm going to sending a writer as fast as I can to let them know, to let Willard know. Also, when you're talking about the army, Willard may or may not be the most senior noble that's there. I mean, he may be outranked by other people. So his say may not be the entire say. It very well could. And if you were likely to go there, I'm sure that Willard would likely take you into his personal guard, into his personal adventuring party that he would pay for. I'm just worried that it may or may not be that way. Here, in some senses, you guys can work through his proxy through me.
Do you think that if we were to return to this camp, excuse me, this mead is very, if we were to return to this camp with proof of goblins in the Lolalolt and the Guzak Brisk, that would make any effect on Noble Coal?
He looks, and once again, like whenever speaking of Noble Coal, he does kind of look around to make sure that nobody is is listening, and there's nobody hearing right there. He doesn't believe anything he's saying. I think is heresy or any way, but he just doesn't want his thoughts getting out. What was the question again?
If we brought proof of goblins.
Do I think Abel? Were you doing some, or was that? Did I miss that divine sense from earlier?
That was
Yeah, but then you said they were out of my range, so
Oh, okay, all right,
I burned it for no reason.
okay. Well, you wouldn't have used it. Is it a one use thing?
No, I've got
It has a
3
limited.
uses a day or whatever.
No. You knew that they were out of your range. It's fine. You didn't use it.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, yeah. If you brought, he says, I think that it would definitely sway Cull, but we all know that Cull is, pardon my language, but he has a hard-on for the Omanis and for
You can say we all know he's a cheating bastard. It's okay.
for
Law-breaking fool.
that's
Pissant.
Mr. Abel, let the mayor speak.
so he very much has the Omani in his sights, and that is his primary concern. And whether there is a group of goblins that, I mean, he doesn't believe that the goblins would pose any kind of, even if there was an army of goblins, it wouldn't pose any kind of a threat to the open lands. They would just stay in the forest, and they wouldn't cause any harm to his place of Sorrel Lake or any of the surrounding towns or villages.
Speaking
Mayor,
of God,
if,
go ahead.
If the short version of this is that there's nothing we can do to convince him because he ain't gonna believe anything, then why should we even try? I mean, we've already been shorted the vast majority of the money we was promised, and
And he once
say
again,
we're under your employ. You say we're under your employ, but that employment's got to be paid for, sir. Now I'm happy to do my part and do my job and do what I need to do to keep food in my mouth, but I ain't out here to babysit. So
I mean, Folker, you know me. I mean, you've worked for me before. I've paid you before.
you have. So that's what I'm asking. If I'm in your employ, what are we getting paid? When are we getting paid? And what's the job? Because sitting around twiddling our thumbs, sitting here, ain't doing much for us.
That is
No.
the heart of it. Knowing what do you want us to do, Mayor?
Well, he still wanted to know. It was like, when you guys were out there, did you see any signs of those Crimson Brothers? Did you see any sign of Laura Cardot or Basil or Florian Thoret? Did you see
No,
any
sir.
signs?
Not to our
So-
knowledge.
We saw a lot of bodies.
But weren't those bodies from from the settlement, the houses? We were pretty sure
Yes.
about that, right?
Pretty sure.
Folker,
We
we were
believe
pretty
so.
sure, right?
Yeah,
Does the mayor know who lives in those houses?
it's multiple heads.
No, he doesn't know who. They're way beyond his. I mean, they're way outside of his town, so no, he doesn't know who lived there. Those houses were outside of Willard's area too, so he didn't even know who they were.
Well, Mayor, the only thing we saw living between the bridge and here was an army heading up from the north and some goblins. Everything else we saw was dead and had been for a while.
Or vultures.
And yeah, we saw vultures. And ash. I mean, we mentioned the ash, right, sir? I mean, we told you about a god awful death covering the land down there. I mean, especially with this cold right now. It's autumn, right? You said before.
Yes.
Is it unseasonably cold? I've been here long enough to be able to have a.
No, it's not unseasonably cold. This is just a not. This
Just
isn't
a
a
cold-
storm.
cool
This is just
autumn.
cold front that
Okay.
in the very beginning of kind of signals the beginning of autumn, really.
This is out of character here.
Yeah.
You say goblins are mythological to
Well
us.
known, but
No, I mean,
they're what do you call it? They're known. People knew that they existed, just like people know orcs exist. They're just. I mean, it's just almost as fairy tale because nobody's seen them in many, many, many years.
well, okay, so what are the
And-
fairy tales about them? Were they, I mean, if I've never run into one, I've only heard stories. What are the stories I've heard? I mean, are they good, bad?
Yeah, typical goblin type stuff. I mean, anything like the regular lore. There's nothing.
Stealing babies in the night.
Yeah, they're
Scared
ferocious.
because there's so many.
Making sure.
Because
Yeah.
I think the general question that we'd have would be if this is a world where it's unheard of or uncommon, other than Hanoa dropping a head out of nowhere. Is it the type of thing where we hear the word goblin and we think, goblin, I'll murder that? Or is it we hear goblin and we think, my God, what is this thing from a story and I don't know what it is and I'm scared of it?
No, you don't, like, you have heard of goblin, but it's one of those things that, like, you guys have obviously heard of orc. Orcs are large, goblins are much smaller, goblins are ferocious, but goblins are the things that come and steal babies in the night. Orcs are the kinds of things that come and destroy cities and towns with huge armies. Typically what you would think of. I mean, there's nothing out of the what you guys out of character. What you guys would think of a goblin is what your characters would think of a goblins are.
Right, because that was something that we had talked about before.
It's just that it's this kind of thing where people have been living in the Mortal Hills and all this area, and nobody's seen them for 100 years. It doesn't mean that they don't exist deep, but nobody goes into the Guzak Brisk. Nobody goes there.
I think that generally for us, most of was our concerns were how our characters would respond to it, because we avoided fighting 5 of them because
we didn't know.
We were under the impression that 5 goblins were a fanciful fairy tale. We didn't know what they could do. For all we knew, they could breathe fire from their mouths and shoot lightning up their ass.
You've never heard of those things, but I mean, goblins are very ferocious beasts, humanoids. I mean, and what their fighting skills and what they actually do, that's unknown.
Okay.
But the fact is that you
would think of them as coyotes or wolves, right? That's the idea.
I would think you would think of them as wolves.
Okay.
But you wouldn't think of them as dragons.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
There's a little bit of a spread there, but sure.
Well, get to the point.
I mean,
like we're not necessarily we're not like horribly scared of them, but we treat their presence with respect.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure most of us would not be happy to see a pack of wolves while we're hiking in ones or twos.
Right. Well, luckily, there's 5 of us. So, but I mean, back into character, Mayor. I mean, to get to the point, I mean, we need a short and sweet on what the job is, because if we can't, I'd say go off into the woods, because God help me, I'd be happier there than sitting around here. But go off there and find proof of him, bring him back. But if that's not going to convince him, if he ain't going to be scared of it, then what's the point? Go off and find an army. I see an army as big as number of trees we got around here. And if that ain't going to convince him, then what's the point of finding out that it's there? Either we have a job. If that job's go hunt deer, I will get food for the camp, and I'll do it, and I'll do my job. But I need to know what a job is.
Well, the job right now also is, 1, information. The more information we have, the better. Right. 2,
even if it's totally ignored.
It's not ignored by me, and it's not going to be ignored by people within this place. But what can I specifically do? Well, at least we can shout at the rooftops if we need help, or we need some stuff that's coming on, or we need stuff that's going on. Right now, this place is somewhat vulnerable. We have Noble Cull to help us here, but that may not last. We don't know what he's going to do.
Have you seen that hole in the cistern?
No, I don't know what it was that caused you guys grief last night, or not you guys grief, but I don't know what caused alarm is what I meant.
Plenty light now. I mean, let's go in there and poke around.
Before we do, how would this sound to you, Mayor? And I'm not speaking for the whole group, but I'm just proposing things. Would you contract us again to head back out into the woods and see if we could track those folks down? And if in the meanwhile we were looking for them, we find some goblins, we could bring those back too.
As far as I'm concerned, you're still you're still going to get paid for helping me find one. The Crimson Brothers are important. That's essentially and don't take this the wrong way.
We're the replacements. I get it.
Yes, you're the replacements for the Crimson Brother.
That's an honor.
Brothers, Yeah, except that they're quite accomplished, and they're
Doesn't sound
quite
like us.
accomplished. It's just we've got nobody else to go look for them while we have a possible war brewing.
And where was the last place that they were?
They went out after Laura Cardot and Florian, and the last place that I knew was that they entered the Lolalolt, but I'm not sure where they entered. I mean, we just sent them on the way, and we just said, hey, they fled south.
I mean, with all due respect, sir, that's not a needle in a haystack. That's a needle in a county. I mean,
Yeah.
It took me 2 months to walk around the northern part of the Lolalolt. How in the world would we even find where they went in?
Well,
If they weren't sending markers or sending sign or anything like that, would we even know what to look for?
that I don't know what to look for. That's why, I mean, I'm not a tracker or an adventurer or any kind of thing. I don't know what you would look for, but I just feel that I feel it's necessary to try.
Could you describe them again?
Sure.
Actually, for the sake of brevity on this part, the reason why Folker's asking, the reason why I'm asking is, I saw 5-ish heads. I'm looking for any of the descriptions to sound like the heads that I saw.
Wait.
In the goblin camp, I saw.
Shit. You
I saw stuff. And no, I didn't tell you guys that. That's out of character knowledge. But anyways, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Let me find in my notes where they're at. Where are they? But without getting you to the character, so that without getting you these exact.
Sure.
No, you did not see
Okay.
anybody that matched those descriptions.
Okay, cool. Okay.
How are they? Anyway, yeah, no, but you did not.
So okay, cool.
And there were 4 of them. The Crimson Brothers. There are 4 members of it.
Okay.
Mayor,
Well, I mean,
sorry.
no, Master Dwarf, you have been a voice of reason, at least with a lot of this. So, by all means, I'm just
this guy.
you point me in a direction, I'll go. But
I think
I tell you what, where the hell is this nut loaf being made? Tell you what, you point me in the direction of the baker that's making this, because I could use another bit. And you guys figure out what you're doing, and I'll be ready to head out when you do.
Okay. Well, Grayson begins to give a description. He's also said, so if you're looking kind of over there, you know where the brightly painted house is, the one we call the art house. Some of the bakers kind of are doing work back over there, and that's where they're doing a lot of the cooking. But also, I believe that there's a couple cooks over next to the armory. And we've got a couple smiths over here in the armory where there's a number of supplies and such. By the way, of which you're welcome to go and peruse. Those are free for the defense. So anything that's in the armory, shouldn't even have to pay for.
Well, that sounds mighty good to me. You guys finish up your conversation, and I'll see you.
As he's pointing out in these different directions, Folker, are you leaving? I'm going to let you know that what do you call it? Noble Cull is striding towards this area, and he also has the goshawks behind him. Do you continue to leave, or do you want to stay?
I am much more interested in getting provisions and potentially gear.
Okay.
That's much more interesting to me than some stick up his ass noble that's coming over to show where he pees. This is all mine. Yeah, we get it, big guy. That's
Here
much.
comes the noble
Folker's
Colt.
much more
Rise
interested
up.
by the So, I'm going to head towards the armory with the intention of getting non-perishable food and any gear. That's my goal.
You're headed towards the armory?
Yes, you said there was cooks by the armory, so I figured that's
Yeah.
two birds, one stone.
Yep.
How far away is Noble Cole?
Within he's within Abel, at least he would know that he's within 50 feet now, and the goshawks are right behind him. If you
Yeah, I'm gonna do that then.
okay.
I mean, don't think it's gonna tell me anything, but I also, in the process of doing that, stand up and lean on my halberd. I don't know. It sounded like he was bartering for us. It was awesome. Should have left it going on in the background.
Okay. So as you're standing, Noble Cull comes forward and comes up. Oh, did you say you stood up as if you were accepting his nobility presence? Is that what you were kind of doing?
No, I was standing up so I'd be ready to attack if needed.
Okay.
I definitely staying able stand up thinking that, oh, we're going to address this noble now. Okay. So I'm like,
all right. Well,
I stand up next to Hanoa and
okay.
just
Cole comes over, and then you can see kind of standing behind him within earshot, but definitely like not under the longhouse. Like the goshawks are not underneath there. Noble Cole definitely is. His first name, by the way, if I remember right, is like Brynmore.
Brynmore
Cole.
Boromir?
Brynmore looks over at Grayson, and he addresses him. He says, "We'll be leaving tomorrow morning. I'm taking most of my guards. I will be leaving a few here with you, just as some security, because I know you're wanting here. Most of my villagers that made this trek are going to be staying here, so the 20 or so guards that I'm going to leave here for security will be of great help. But I'm going to be meeting up with Hole and Merrick, and we're going to be assessing my troop strength. That I'm going to begin my campaign against the Omani, and I think that, and he points towards this group addressing, and he says, I think these guys will be somewhat useful. So they don't look nearly as capable as your last group. Were they the Crimson Brothers? But I could probably use them. And then he stands up and addresses the group, and he says, you guys will accompany me. You will be paid 2 silvers for a day, for 30 days. 2 silver each day for 30 days. You're going to be accompanying me. If you've proven your worth and you've survived, I will pay you 1 gold a day for your services. After that,
I pass, Your Grace. I'll start packing up my stuff.
It's kind of you to consider us, I suppose, but
it says,
thank you.
Okay. Well, it's not necessarily a request, but I do expect you guys to be coming along whenever we leave tomorrow morning. There will be a feast that's going to happen tonight prior to us departing in the morning. I'll
walk out.
It will be in the long. I need to tell you the divine sense, because you're gonna get you just stand up and walk out.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh yeah, there will be a feast, so you guys are welcome to come by and partake of the feast tonight before we decide to leave tomorrow morning. And with that, by your leave, and then he takes off.
I'll say thank you.
Okay, good luck.
I'd say thank you, Lord, for considering us. We hope that we will not do you wrong.
Okay. The tall, very tall member of the Goshawk just kind of stares and looks, and then gives a good look around, and he doesn't appear to have a single expression upon his face, but just stands there, looks, and then he begins to walk off as well. He does not follow Noble Cole, but he goes back apparently to wherever he was coming for, which was in the direction where Folker went. You notice that the 2 females, when it's up close like this, you'll notice that both of them, that they are twin female humans. One of them has long red hair, and the other one has a shaved head. The one with the shaved head has 2 swords, and then whenever she kind of smiles and looks at everybody and smiles, and you realize that she's got about 3 teeth, she's stunningly beautiful, but she probably only has 3 teeth, as most of the other ones have been knocked out.
Jesus.
And
Badass.
both of those two walk off. Abel, right prior to you walking off, you definitely sensed a quick, within the first awareness, you did detect evil, but you did not. And then you attempt to focus it as you were walking away and figure out where it was from. Is that my understanding? Is that the first part of it you kind of detect, and you get a powerful, noxious odor of evil. And as you attempted to fine tune that, which kind of takes you just a second, it takes you, I think, just a round so that you can fine tune it. And I will tell you one thing: you did not detect celestial, you did not detect fiend, you did not detect undead. You detected evil, but when you attempted to get further, it went away as if a strong wind just came through. So you got evil. But where within that, it was definitely within the Goshawks. It was not coming from Noble Cull, but within the Goshawks, you definitely detected noxious odor of evil. But it wasn't everybody, but it was somebody. But where in there, you're not sure.
Yeah, if he's going with the Lord, I don't care.
Well, then what happens is then after him, the other tall one begins to leave. Those of you that are left behind, which would just be Barman, Hanoa, and Anu, the guy that goes next is the tall, slender one that had the cloak over, and he's got this slicked back hair. It's rather short, and he's got a real thin mustache. You see underneath, and he's got darkened, blackened leather armor, and you notice that his belt, that he has got 4 long knives. I'm sorry, a total of 8, but 4 knives on each hip. So there's 4 long knives all along his belt line. And then as he leaves, he pulls up his hood over his face like that, and you realize that he's got this dark hood and this dark cloak, and he gives you a smile, and you realize that he has sharpened his teeth, so that they are sharpened to points. He leaves, and then the friar also leaves.
So they're gone. And that's Mayor.
They are gone, and now you just have the mayor. Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
I thought we were in your employment.
He's got his head down, and he's shaking his head. That is exactly what you asked me, and that is exactly not how I thought it was going.
Mayor,
yes.
we are going to go find your people. We're going to leave, probably before the feast. We're going to find your friends, and we're going to get them back here. But we're going to need your help in order to make that happen.
Yeah. I will help you in any way possible for me to help you to get out of here. I don't know whether you guys know best whether that would be during the daylight or during the feast or after cover of darkness. But
we'll take care of
I
it.
I also legally consider you guys still in my employment, so I don't believe that he sits around and says, I know I've known Abel for a long time, and I know that this would matter to him. But if he were to look at some sort of contractual, you guys had a verbal agreement with me first. And you guys are still under my employment, and if it means terms, it means terms. I intend for you to get the rest of the gold that Willard promised, and that is still our terms.
I don't even live in this guy's jurisdiction, I think. So you're nice to me, Mr. Mayor, so I'm with you.
We've of course been friends with you, Mayor, but what we're going to need from you is when we do not show up or we do not go with this army, that's going to fall on you a little bit. Are you going to be ready for that?
That is fine. He believes that Cull is, and he says, and I apologize because apparently I've just read him. I was either reading him wrong or thinking the best, but he says, I don't believe that he will send any men out to find you. He is solely focused on the Omani and the Omani threat, and he has a number of people here, and so he wishes them to be protected. And so I don't believe that he's going to consider you guys any kind of threat enough to send any valuable resources out against you. Says, but obviously, I've just been proven my logic just been proven wrong. So
Yeah.
Seeing as we are somewhat capable, I don't think he'd waste the resources on such a trivial matter, particularly if he's only leaving 20 forces here as it is. From
That's-
a noble standpoint, that would be foolish, even from someone with an arrogant head.
that's what I'm thinking as well. And I just know that that he doesn't forget, and he could probably consider it a slight, but I don't feel like that you guys would be in any kind of danger from him.
As long as we are not seen as deserters and we're seen as working for you, that's the bit.
That would be the case that I would make to any other noble and to him.
Then we'll find your Crimson Brotherhood. And
Let's go get the Crimson Brothers.
Could we get you
That'd be awesome.
Mayor, I had this document that I had written up for Noble Cull that he did not. Could I get you to sign that just so if
Please
anybody
sign.
catches us, like, just
Right here on the
I give him a
line.
piece of paper and I'm like, just a short.
Okay,
description of what we're
you
looking for.
guys begin to go over that and talk about those kinds of things, and you go over this document with him. While before I get to Folker, Abel, what did you do when you walked away?
Oh, I'm sure I headed to supplies.
Okay, to what
Where probably where Folker went.
did you go also where to Folker went?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm making my way there too.
Okay.
Looking over at Hanoa, say, "Let's go shopping."
Okay, we'll probably get there much later since we've had this conversation.
So essentially, Barman's going to stick around at the campsite with Grayson and go over this.
Yes.
All right. So Hanoa and Anu manage to jump up, and they can at least see Abel, as Abel is stalking kind of fiercely after the direction in
Judge.
which
There he is. Let's go.
Folker left. And Abel, you catch up to Folker, and Folker is standing, and he says, Folker, you point out to Abel that the blacksmith you haven't been yet is just right the next, what do you call it? It's the next building, which is a circular building, almost like a longhouse, except it's just circular. It's got a hole in the top where the fire and smoke escape, and it's open-sided as well. You can see in there, and you can hear the tinking of an anvil and some stoking of the fires, and you can see the bellows going. You can see that there's at least 2 people in there working in the armory. But for now, you've managed to go and you kind of followed one of the old ladies that stands nearby, right close to where you guys are, that's been serving you, and she walked over to one of these one of the other permanent buildings that were in the side of the inside of the hill, and has been there. It's like almost like a storehouse. This place happens to be actually where the nut loaves are coming from. There's a number of other perishable items, but you managed to just go talk to that, and she's this lady and several of the people inside of this building are all from Kilpeck, and so they recognize you guys right off the bat, and they're the ones that have been serving you. And she pretty much asks, what do you need?
Yeah, ma'am. This bread, this nut loaf, I think that you guys y'all been serving is fantastic. It's amazing.
She says it's very good.
It is more than good, ma'am. Could we possibly get a few extra fresh loaves from you? I mean, I'm happy to pay if necessary, but it's just so good, and I think I might be going out on a bit of a hunting trip for a while to get some meat for the group, and I sure would like to have some of that with me.
And she says, "Oh, okay." And then she goes inside, and she seems to be not one of the bakers, and she's just kind of like one of these ladies that's a porter. She kind of grabs it and brings it to the people and walks
Even
it back.
better.
But then there's people that are inside, and she goes and talks to them, and she brings out 3 of the loaves and says, these were all they had. And so she hands you 3 of those, which are each wrapped in like these little in just white cloth. they look like handkerchiefs, but they're wrapped. She's got 3 of these, and they're still kind of hot. And she goes, "Oh, these are warm," and she hands those. But she also has like in her arm, in the crook of her arm, she's got like 4 baguettes, which are about like this long, and they're baguettes, but it's just plain bread. And she goes, "But do you need these? These are unfinished," meaning that they're just plain bread.
That would be fantastic, man.
Okay, and the baguettes aren't anything. They're just 4 loaves of bread essentially, and she hands over those. And what else did you like?
Well, what else do you have that lasts on the road?
And then she goes back in, disappears, and then she comes back with she comes back with, and actually she seems a little sheepish, and she does this. She kind of looks back like that, and so then she hands you 2 jars, and one of the jars is like large with a sealed lid, and it's of pickled eggs. And so she hands you 1 jar of pickled eggs, and then she hands you another jar, and she hands this one, and this was the chock full of it's not sealed in the same way. So once this one's opened, it's been broken. The pickled eggs, you can actually seal the jar again.
Right.
But this one is just a whole bunch of those tiny little fish.
Oh, pickled fish.
It's the best treasure hoard ever.
We got little fish. Sorry.
This is amazing. Do I owe you something for this, ma'am? Was that? Do you need to be paid for this?
Oh no, it's okay. And she just kind of lowers her head a little bit.
Well, then here you go. And I give her my 3 coppers. I slide them to her. Just for you then. Thank you for helping me out.
Oh, she touches your hand and says, "Oh, well, thank you very much." And she goes, "You're very handsome."
I actually blush and walk away.
Okay.
I love the old lady.
About that time, Abel, you're kind of noticing this exchange that's happening, and wisely so. Like, start to walk up and then just kind of slow your roll and wait for him, because he's kind of handing over some coin, and he's got the armfuls of bread and 2 big jars.
Yeah, if I see that going on, I'll move over to check out what's available in the armory.
Okay. About that time, Hanoa and Anyu come up from behind, so all 4 of you make it over to the armory. All you approach the armory about the same time, with Volker, just this hoard of food.
Volker.
This is the second time a woman's looked at me like that today.
Let me help you carry some of that.
Please, thank you.
Okay, you guys begin to divvy up that. In the armory, there are large wooden boxes, like open crates, and unfortunately, most of those things are completely empty. There are 2 smithies, which appear to be, smiths like doing real work. They're wearing the leather aprons, and a couple of them have on these big leather gloves, and they're hammering at stuff. One of them comes over, and this is a short but fairly stocky. He's a very dark-skinned, almost very dark-skinned male human. He has long black hair, which has kind of been braids, but it's been put up in the ponytail. And what can I do? How can I help?
Oh, we were told that you might have supplies that defenders of the camp could access and get. So here, looking to see what we can use.
Yes, look in any of these boxes. You may take any of these things within any of these crates here. I'm going to have to apologize. Most of the stuff has been taken when Noble Maldamus came through. He took most of the stuff, and then I understand that Noble Cull is leaving fairly soon, and they also got most of it. But I think you can find a few things in there.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I thank him and start looking through the crates.
So Smith, I have an odd request, if you'll hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where I can pick up a needle and some thread?
A needle and some thread. You might check with the general store, but if you guys don't mind me asking, you work with Noble Maldamus and the mayor, is that Mayor Grayson? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
He wants to know, did you find any sign of that girl that ran away, or her brother, or the? I understand that's what he might have employed you guys for.
Not yet, but we haven't given up looking yet.
Oh
No.
well, bless you. Actually, you know, the kid, the kid Florian, the one that went away with Laura, um, he worked with me just for a little bit, but he wasn't. It wasn't that good. Not nearly as good. And he kind of points at over his shoulder, and you guys can see there's a bare-chested boy of probably about 14 who's over there working the bellows. And I mean, this kid is just working. He's working really hard, and you know, jumping about, doing all kinds of different chores and doing all kinds of things, and just leans over and says, Adam over there has just been great. So, but I had a soft spot for Florian because he worked for a little bit, but just I don't think this was the kind of thing that he was interested in. But he's a good kid.
Well, these supplies that we're looking to get is exactly to help us find them folks. So
We're gonna do our best.
And does that mean that you guys are you headed back into the woods?
we're heading out first thing tomorrow morning.
And at this point, you don't even need to make a perception check. At this point, he kind of looks at especially you, Anu, who's the one that was asking questions, and he kind of looks and motions for you to get a little bit closer, because he looks over at the other smith, who kind of is kind of like, you can tell that the other smith is pounding away at like the anvil with the hammer, but it's slowed down, and it appears that the other smith might be trying to listen to what's been going on and what's being said. And he says, if you, as you lean close, he pretty says, I'm sorry, I didn't. First of all, my name is Jakebi, and
Meadow Sword, at your
Other-
service.
guy over there, his name is Arthur. Now, he works for Noble Cull, so that's why Noble Cull has been getting all the stuff within the woods. I don't know if you guys know, there's long ago, the dwarves built mines throughout the entire Guzak Brisk and all throughout the Lolalolt. And if you guys go in there, and if you can find mines and bring me materials, I can make you weapons. I can make you armor. I just don't have the raw materials to do so. And anything that I get through normal channels is going to be going through Arthur, through Noble Cull, and going to outfit the armies. But if you guys need anything, bring me the materials, and I can make you armor, and I can make you things to help you out.
Cool.
I give him a knowing smile, and I kind of adamantly raise my voice a little bit. I said, Jakebi, you've been most helpful. Rest assured, we've been giving our orders by Mayor Grayson and Noble Cull, and we will be following our orders post haste. Thank you for all the supplies you're able to bestow upon us. They will help our missions.
He nods and then goes back and goes all over to where he is. Within the supplies crates, they are pretty well picked clean. But one thing that you guys do find, Abel, especially looking through, is that you've managed to find 2 serviceable sets of leather armor.
Whoa.
Okay, well, I passed that out to whoever wants that.
So they're 2 full suits of leather armor to whomever likes. And that's like the extent of what you found in there. The rest of it's been pretty well picked clean. There's some arrows and some bolt cases and stuff like that, but
How many arrows?
How many bolts? Well, you said bolt cases.
Well, yeah, the bolts are within the case. If you want to get a
Ooh.
case of bolts, you can get a case of 10 bolts.
Okay.
How many
Is there a
arrows?
rope?
I'm sorry.
Is there rope? I keep looking for rope.
It wouldn't be here, but it might be where the needle
Gotcha.
and thread are.
Okay.
And the other thing is that there are a bundle of 10 arrows. They're not tied with rope; they're tied with string. But there's no quiver; it's just arrows.
I've crammed them in.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a bolt case,
Okay.
a full one.
It's essentially just a little wooden box like this with a top on it, and so you open up the top and there's 10 bolts inside the case.
I'm gonna cram as many of the existing bolts that I have into that box as well.
The bolt case holds 10, and that's the only thing it can
Oh,
hold.
son of a bitch.
But-
Okay,
Rest of
just
them are just jingling around somewhere.
just in my bag. Okay. S- Can you point us in the direction of the general store, please?
He looks over and points over towards that way, which he kind of pointing over towards where the art house is at, and over on the other side of your longhouse.
Okay.
Much appreciated, sir. We should not keep Noble Cole waiting. I
Let's
kind
go.
of
Well,
grab.
so as we step away, I'm gonna look at the armor and look towards everyone and say, "So, who's gearing up?"
Who gets hit the most? And you and Abel, you guys were up
I
the
mean,
most.
leather
in
armor might as well not even. I mean, whoever I don't want it.
Okay.
Abel doesn't want it.
I will take it. Anything to help me protect those around me better.
So there's one more Folker. Do you? Yeah.
I mean, I'd happily wear it, but it'd probably do better use on someone else.
I would love it.
Well, by all means.
I've never had armor before.
Well, I haven't either, and the next set it's gonna be looking mighty nice for me.
All
But
right.
For you,
We're supposed to be reading that barman. We can't.
No, I'm not here. I'm trying to make the illusion that I'm not here.
Ah,
Okay.
Okay. So I get armor.
Excellent.
So leaving the armory, do you head back to your longhouse and see where Barman's at?
No, I'm
we
going
can
to
go
the
to
general
general
store.
That's where.
Well,
Yeah.
you've got to pass by the longhouse before.
We
you
got all this food. Maybe we should free up our arms
Hmm.
if we're gonna pass by.
Yeah, you're gonna pass by it.
How is like the walk like at least a couple minutes where I feel like we might be just ourselves, not having prying ears?
Yes.
So what's her okay. Folker and Abel weren't there for that conversation on you.
What?
Oh, right. Well, Abel was to a point, and then he walked away. Do they teach tact in your jurisdiction?
Mr. Folker, you weren't there for Lord Cole telling us we're supposed to go with him.
Yes, we have marching orders,
But
Volker.
and he doesn't have the authority to give you those marching
No.
orders.
we wanna work for the mayor. The mayor wants us to continue our quest that he gave us first.
Authority. It's
I
whether or
left,
not.
I left because it would be less tactful to put a halberd through his grin.
I'll tell you, job.
You're Spitfire.
I mean, is he paying?
2 silver a day
That's
or a week or something. What did he say?
You're
I
talking
mean,
about
had you
I
stayed
wouldn't.
around
I
and
wouldn't
had
trust
a
him to pay
conversation.
you, but
no.
sure, he said he
But
would.
the mayor still considers us in his employment. That
Right.
was first employment. And that employment hasn't ended.
Right. By all technicalities, we are still under.
We have not finished
Negotiations,
that
employment.
job.
All right. Well, I'm. Appreciate it.
But Noble Cole has expectations of our
Lee-
services now, it seems.
We might
Well,
need
I'm
to
gonna
be
need-
cutting out early.
Well, I'm gonna need to hear this from the mayor's voice himself.
He
I
might still
appreciate
be
it.
with Barman.
All right.
Wait.
Well, let's go see him then because I worked for him plenty times. He says I still work for him. I'll still work for him. I trust him. But if you tell me there's work somewhere else, I'll follow that job too. So
Not with that guy. Nope.
Well, Mayor tells me to stay with him. I'll stay with you and keep helping you guys see your way around. If he doesn't, I'm gonna go off with where the money goes.
Okay.
What barman, go ahead and roll a let's do what check do I want to do? What you would consider a negotiation type check?
Persuasion.
Persuasion?
Persuasion?
Yeah, persuasion. I couldn't even remember if there's still a persuasion check. Is there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I rolled a 19.
okay.
App.
What would you like to have in this contract?
I just want the contract to say that the mayor has hired us to search out the Crimson Brotherhood and the two lovers, Florian and Laura, and that we are currently contracted to find them. And I'm also going to have it dated tomorrow.
Okay, but your differential is pretty high, meaning you beat his by quite a bit. So would you like the money written down? Would you also like how much more he owes each of you? Would you like it written down that it was blessed under noble Willard Maldamus?
Yes, yes, we'll say Mayor Grayson acting under the same orders of noble Willard Maldamus. And after having already been paid 20% of our promised 25, I'm not going to embellish or anything, but just like that we've already been paid a portion of what we have been agreed to, and that the rest will come when we complete our tasks to Willard.
Okay. All right. And that's what you want in it, because your differential is so much greater. He rolled a natural 2. Meaning you can put pretty much what you'd like in this contract.
The biggest things that I'm doing about this is, 1, that it's under him, that we are being sent away. 2, that it's going to be dated tomorrow, meaning that it represents the fact that it is done in the knowledge of Cull's orders.
Okay.
And then with the money that's still owed us.
Okay. All right. Well, all that's within the contract. When the rest of the group all come back to you guys' fire, and you're sitting there, you've got a couple suits of armor, you've got a bunch of food, and they're leaning back like this with his arms behind his head, and you guys see you, and he just waves his contract, the barman does, and just kind of has a big grin on his face as all of you guys show up. And
what you got there, Master Dwarf?
I was like, it's just the details of our arrangement with the mayor that we had previously.
Previously,
Get
so
this in triplicate?
So that covers up till now, you said.
Well, it's continuing, and I'll show it to him. I don't know. Can you read?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
read.
so yeah, I'll show it to him.
There in a fine penmanship is a piece of paper that details exactly that you guys are under the employment of Mayor Grayson, who is under the employment and direction of noble Willard Maldamus. That you have a certain amount of contract, and that you are promised you have been promised 25 gold per person, of which you have been paid 5 per person, and you are owed 20 gold per person. Dated as of.
So this is an inaccurate contract, barman. I have not been paid anything.
That is correct. Yours will be completed when you get there.
I get done reading it, and your Volker just mumble "vobit" under his breath, and then hands it back and says, "All right, well, if what the young lady here was telling me is true, then this sure as hell looks like we need to get out of here before they notice we're gone.
We have a job to do.
Yeah, we got a job to do. We got food for the road. We got gear. You wanted to stop by the store, spend a little of that coin in your pocket. After that, let's make a plan to get out of here.
Absolutely.
How are we gonna leave? We leaving one at a time, meeting up some point outside, or are we all just planning on slipping out together? And are we doing it now? Are we just gonna go out and not come back? Are we leaving tonight?
Do you want to wait until the feast begins, and we could leave once everybody's feasting?
Feast? What feast?
There's a feast to celebrate Lord Cole's leaving.
Oh, well, that seems as good a time as any. Slip past the picketers, maybe even bring them beer, bring them something, get them liquored up before we try to leave.
That's a good idea.
That's a wonderful idea.
And then in the cover of night, we're gone.
That gives us DM.
Quite a while. Gives you most of this day. It's probably you remember you got started this morning a little bit late, so it was a few hours past dawn. So you're looking at it's probably 11 o'clock now in the afternoon. Maybe an hour before noon. The wind and the weather are still pretty much the same, so there's not a lot of movement out and about. Everybody, when they go between different places, kind of like rushes, and nobody's hanging around outside very much. Everybody's in buildings and moving from building to building.
Hey, Judge.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about you. I'm still awful curious about the cistern. We're gonna leave here. I sure would like to poke around in there with light of day and I don't know, figure out what we're leaving. It's always good to know what's at your back.
We can certainly look again, but I feel like we looked for hours last night and didn't find a thing. But pretty sure the light of day doesn't shine any brighter than there.
Well,
during the day.
Maybe we could knock the wall down.
Whoa.
I mean, we got some time to burn. We go in there. I mean, or we just leave it be. But I mean, if we're planning on coming back here after that noble fellow leaves, I'd rather there be a here to come back to.
There were voices behind that hole.
No, fine. We can check it out one more time.
And I'm always up for a little bit of demolition.
Okay. So is that does the whole group wish to go into the cistern?
I'll go.
I'll go as well.
How far away is the store versus the cistern?
Not too far, not too much. It wouldn't take very long for you just to go past the art house and look and see where the general store is.
Volker, why don't we secure all our traveling what we're gonna need for this travel, then we'll check it out.
Right. Let's get what we need.
General store.
What they said was true. We're going to be expected to leave in the morning with the noble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
There won't be anything suspicious about having our packs ready to go.
No.
So let's get them ready. Let's get what we need, and let's be ready to rock.
So we agreed. All right. That is our talking point.
Okay. Once again, you pass by the. You're heading in the direction where they pointed out that the general store is, and it turns out you pass by this the art house, which you were on the outside again, and notice the brightly painted. You do notice that before there was a what do you call it, the doors and all the shutters were closed to the art house. Now they are open, but you pass by and the general store is actually just kind of like it isn't a full-on building. It's actually just kind of like a tinker's cart in which this person has set up their cart and then opened up the flaps both of the sides, and so they kind of have wares just around the side of this cart. It's been put and out, and the guy's kind of huddled up inside of the cart, just up in like this. And okay, yeah. Did you need something?
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Some supplies.
Okay, what are you looking for?
Do you have rope?
Yep, I think I've got one rope left.
One
So,
rope.
50 feet hemp rope.
Okay, cool. Do you have string?
It looks around and tries to find find a ball of twine. Like that.
On you?
I can make that work. Do you have any kind of sewing materials? A needle that may work with this.
He does have some thread, and they do have a sewing needle. So it's just like a little sewing kit, I believe.
Okay. How much is that, please?
Oh, let's see. Let me look up.
I could look it up too, but I don't know if it's supply and demand around here.
Well, the rope, he ends up, he says, it's my last one, so that's 2 gold.
Ooh.
I'll
for
give
rope?
Hanoa one of my gold and say I'll split it with you.
Okay, we'll share the rope. Okay.
Okay. What was the other thing? The ball of twine.
Mhm.
The ball of twine itself is 5 silver.
Okay.
And then because he bought the ball of twine, he's actually going to throw in the needle and this. It's just a little kit with a little bit of thread and a needle.
Can I use the twine with the needle theoretically? Tell me it's a big enough needle head.
They're too big. There are 2 needles within the kit, and one of them's big enough to have twine.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then
God.
one of them's like a smaller one with thread. So,
Okay.
You got an owl, a hole punch. There's a few tools I need to flesh out my leatherworking kit, and if you got any old tools in there,
he says, "No, I'm fresh out of the leatherworking kits."
Well, I don't need a whole kit. You got any bits? You got a piece left around? Just anything?
He rummages through and
Tinkers carry all sorts of.
yeah, he rummages through some stuff and finds one odd piece that is not a complete leathers kit, but you do find like the punch, and so he's like, yeah, I've got this. It's not even a full kit, but this thing must have gotten left out somewhere. So 1 silver.
All right.
Sir, do you have any salt in your wares?
No, nothing like that.
Do you have any paper, ink, wax, anything like that?
He looks through and manages to find. He says, "I'm out of paper, but I do have some vellum."
I would probably take some vellum.
Do you have maybe a pick thingy handle with a pick on the end, maybe?
Like a bung hammer?
No,
Like
something with a pointy end, maybe, or maybe 2 pointy ends.
Like a rock pick?
Maybe. I have an idea.
Oh god. I show my my dwarven hold, which is it's like hammer on this end and like a pick on this end. It's like a little rock hammer. Like you mean like one of these?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I don't want my idea to go bad and you lose your fun pick thing.
He says, "Yes, I do," and then he goes up inside and then off the top of shelf, and he brings out a fairly large miner's pick. Like
Ooh.
it's a full-on miner's pick.
Whoa.
Yeah. How much is that?
That's 4 gold.
Can we just borrow it for like 20 minutes? How much is it to borrow it for 20 minutes?
You can't borrow it. Because you can't. If you can't buy it, you can't afford it if it breaks.
I'll put in a gold for it if we want to.
No, we're not. No.
Okay.
Ain't worth it. If it's too strong, if we need a pickaxe to get through that, then they ain't getting through that. We're fine.
Yeah.
So.
I just wanted to, with the rope. I don't know. I have the claw thingy sticks, maybe rope holds, and I have future.
We got a forest right here. Just grab a damn branch.
Oh no, it needs to be pokey. Don't mind me.
All right, there's Scorpion.
You get he's got sheets of vellum, which are it's pretty cheap paper, and he's got 10 sheets of vellum for 1 silver.
Do you have any pitons?
No more pitons.
Is it
Crowbar, perhaps?
He does have a crowbar.
Hanoa, would this help?
I don't know.
Here you go.
Should we
Hanoa.
try it?
I'm
Hanoa.
not an inventor.
Hey, Hanoa, here,
What?
take this. I give her the nearly broken hand axe that we got from Killpack.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
Sure, here you go. I'm taking that off my character sheet so I don't have to wait.
I'll see if that works.
I will give.
So you don't need the crowbar.
How much is the crowbar, sir?
3 gold.
I don't need the crowbar.
Ball
Blink,
bearings.
I will pay him for the vellum. Was there any ink or wax?
Oh, he definitely has wax, but I don't think he has any ink. So. Or the wax. Or sealing wax. And they don't talk about this anymore. Oh yeah, there it is. The sealing wax for 7 silver.
Okay, I'll take the sealing wax and the vellum, but no ink.
Oh, he does. He does have a 1 ounce bottle of ink left. It happens to be red. If that's okay.
I'll take it.
12 gold.
I will not take it.
You said 12?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just fiddling with the rope. Start shuffling backwards.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Wait, and you.
Hmm,
Can I have some of that string too?
Of course.
I don't think I need a lot of it.
You can have as much as you'd like.
Okay. I'm gonna take a length probably that big. No, wait.
One butterman size.
I'm gonna measure. I'm gonna take out that piece of wood. 3 times the length of the piece of wood. That's what I take. So it was like hand sized. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right.
I pay him. So I give him a gold for the rope,
Mhm.
And give him the other
Yeah.
gold for that.
and I'll pay him 2 silver for the ball of twine and the 2 needles.
Okay.
I guess I'll give him a gold and expect change.
Yes, you get change.
Okay.
I start backing away. I'm wrapping the string around that piece of wood, and I'm going to the art house. Shiny things.
Okay. So, from here, from leaving this general goods cart, where are we headed?
I apparently have backed away towards the art house. If they're
Okay.
gonna stop me.
Okay. So, I mean, the art house is back on the way to both your guys' longhouse and the cistern. Are you going into the art house?
I want to go in there. I want to go in here. You guys, I'll catch up later.
I will come as well.
I'm really curious.
I mean, we've got plenty of time.
You don't have to hang out
I'll
with me. If
stick
you
with
guys
it,
want to
too.
go investigate or
The
I've already seen the cistern.
the art house is like I said, once again, it was bright greens and bright purples and occasional yellow, and it wasn't camouflage, but it was like some weird patterns which were painted all on the outside of it. But some of the shutters which were painted on the outside have been thrown open, and so those shutters are just like plain white on the inside, on the outside. Well, on the inside now that they're on the out.
okay.
But there is a small staircase which has been kind of folded down from the doorway that normally gets pulled up, but there's a small staircase down to go inside, and the door is which normally was closed and had like shutters on the outside. Now the door is still closed, but it's at least partially open, meaning so it's inviting and welcome to go inside. Hanoa is the first one inside, but everybody kind of has to go single file through this doorway into the room inside is a single room, and it is very, very cramped. But inside, from the floor to the ceiling and even over the walls, there are large paintings. Most of them, they're framed and they just go completely enveloping this entire room, and also kind of like hung up on the ceiling. And all of you guys managed to get inside of the room, but with all of you guys inside the room, and you take up most of the room, just kind of like standing around looking. make perception check, please, everybody.
Yes, I want to do that for sure. Boo, boo, boo.
I rolled a 4.
You probably will beat me still.
Bottom rolled a 1.
I rolled a 5. I actually beat Abel.
Can we all do this? Is that
Yes,
Okay.
if you're in the room, you do.
that's an 8?
Volker, save us. Oh my god.
There it is.
I got an 18.
Um,
You guys are all very wowed by the colorful outside still.
Does it have a bird in it?
yes, and both Abel and Hanoa, you guys can go ahead and make a whichever one's best for you. Either make a straight up wisdom roll, make a straight up intelligence roll, or if you're proficient in history, you may do that. Local.
Oh, wait. I am proficient in history. Cool. It's a 5!
I rolled a 13 wisdom.
Okay. Folker, the first thing you notice is that everybody's wowed and looking at these different paintings. By the way, the paintings are all nature scenes. So they're all these greens and then waters of blue and everything. They're just completely surrounding like all these just different vibrant pictures of nature scenes. But what really strikes everybody else is that you start looking and realizing that in each of these nature scenes, like there are little hidden creatures behind the foliage and in different places. So you start looking at them and you can start seeing like things within the painting. They're not moving or anything, but they're just like, it looks like a big nature scene, like a big waterfall with a whole bunch of trees around it. But as you start looking, you can see like, oh, behind that tree, there's like a unicorn, or behind this tree, there's like some sort of unknown creature. And so everybody's kind of like, it's like finding, what's the guy, the
Magic eye
Waldo.
paintings?
Where's Waldo?
Where's
Sorry.
Waldo? It's like,
Oh,
where's
okay.
Waldo? Where you start looking
Did
through
you
them and you
say
can start
Finding
seeing.
Nemo?
Yeah, I did. So you start looking through the paintings and you start realizing that like you can start seeing these things hidden within it. And of course that's on purpose. Folker, the thing that gets your attention is that nobody else seems to notice this, but the floor and the walls in which this entire room and all the paintings are covering it appears to be a map of the entire area. And it's unseen and it's very difficult because the floor has been trod and it's all scuffed over and you can't make out any of the details or any words, but you suddenly realize that this is all of the Mortul Hills. This is all this area, and that the walls in this entire room before the paintings were hung was a painted map of this entire land.
So I am going to lean on really fast my background of wanderer. For the first part, I have an excellent memory for maps and geography. I can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and other features around me.
Yep.
So I am going to look at this map and start committing it as much as possible to memory. Anything that gives me a position of reference, anything that gives me a note, and specifically where the paintings are too, where they're actually hung.
The big problem that you're going to have is that you kind of realize this if like you get those soft eyes and you look around, but once you start trying to look, there's not enough room between the paintings for you to get any details, and you realize the entire floor has been scuffed over. But it's kind of one of those things, if you just like look with soft eyes, you can kind of see this, and your perception was really good to understand it. So it would take a very long time to get any details.
I want to take a painting off the wall.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
You're right. As you go to do that and you go to grab the painting and realize that this thing is virtually bolted on, and you start trying to move that, a lady walks up and, can I help you? My name is Nuella. Can I help?
I feel like we've met her before.
Actually,
different old lady.
I gave 3 copper to you just a second ago.
Sorry, I'm not a fucking voice actor. I can't do a whole bunch of
That was
different
Llewellyn's
voices.
sister.
We're asking. You don't.
But It's strange, Abel, that you bring this up because with your wisdom of a 13, you do remember having seen some of these paintings before. You do remember this entire thing. As a matter of fact, somewhere back in the when you first started and you came here from Omani in one of your first times in your circuits around, you definitely remember Delphina's traveling art show. These were these things where this it was a traveling show that just had this large um, cart full of these paintings in which they'd go to town to town in different villages, and the kids would love to run up and come and look at all the funny creatures that they could find, and that this was a big attraction. um, and you remember that it was Madame Delphina's, and you remember that it was quite amazing because she was so old, uh, that she had painted all these things, and she did this traveling by herself. Apparently, she stopped because she's um, even older. But Nuella comes
Um,
forward and okay, can I help?
yeah, the painting underneath. I mean, the paintings are nice, but there's something underneath all this. You see it, right? I mean, like, it looks like there's like a map or something. I can point, and I kind of generally like, because you could say with soft eyes, I could say there's Mortal Hills or something. Because I kind of do that. I kind of just with my arm like, well, there's the hills up north, and this area over here probably be where Lolalolt is, and I'd start generally
Right.
doing.
She says, yes, well, Madame Delphina did paint the interior of this, and it was what she recalled from all these paintings are from recollection. And she says, Madame Delphina, and she motions a little bit further into the house, and she says, Madame Delphina, painted everything from pure memory, and yeah, it was, but it was such a long time ago when she first painted this. This was actually the exterior of her cart, and then she took in each plank of those planks of wood and built this house of it out of it. And that's one of the things which you remember now. You realize that some of the planks of wood on the outside kind of look like it was at one point a cart, that it was the outside of the carts, but now they've been out of sequence. And so the what do you call it, the exterior of the house was like the outside of the cart that used to have something painted on it, but now those things is out of sequence. So that's why there's like purples and greens and yellows on the outside, which don't make any sense, and it kind of looks like camouflage, but that's just because they're the other side of the planks of wood and they're not in sequence for what was actually painted there.
That's amazing.
Oh, would you like to meet her?
Can we?
Yes. And so she just kind of motions to look over, and walk further inside.
Volker, maybe you could ask her.
Right? I mean, you just heard what I saw. I mean, these old maps.
Okay. As you and Hanoa and Folker go in, you see that Madame Delphina is sitting in a essentially just a very, very large wheelchair. She at one time was a pretty large female. She's very old. She has this giant shock of just white hair. It's just like this big, huge bird's nest of white hair that just goes everywhere and all the way down her back. You could tell that she is completely blind. She has milky white eyes that are just looking off into the distance, and apparently she's also deaf because she doesn't make a sound as you guys approach, and she just kind of and she's wearing this bright colored, like brightly colored robe, but what we would know as like a muumuu, and she's just sitting down in this chair. Both of you two can make perception checks.
Okay. That's a 5 again.
The 16.
Okay. But she doesn't seem to be paying any kind of attention at all, and she's as you were talking, Folker, she doesn't seem to notice you at all.
No, we don't.
I don't want to. I don't want to be a
We don't
bother.
need to bother the woman. She seems to be enjoying herself
I wanted to say that I think your paintings are beautiful, ma'am, and your home is very lovely.
Nuella touches his shoulder and says, "Oh, she can feel the good energy, and she thanks you."
I like that. Good energy with you.
Volker's a little creeped out, and he quickly leaves the building.
Okay.
Bye.
As Volker passes by and kind of like and just walks out. Volker, one thing as you were leaving, you noticed that like because her muumuu is kind of like this large robe kind of stuff. You noticed that underneath her robe, like where you can kind of see underneath, where her armpits, where the large area is, you realize that she's completely bandaged, all on the inside, like with old bandages around. That's what you've noticed with your perception token. She's just like her arms underneath here and all underneath where you could see flesh, with the exception of these arms, was just bandaged. And she's kind of hunched over like a little like a lady, and looks like she might even have a hunchback, but she's just all bandaged over.
Yeah, that's disgusting, and I don't want to be around death or old people dying, so I'm leaving.
Volker leaves in a little bit of a hurry, and just kind of.
Did you say that out loud, Volker?
Nope.
Okay.
What are the rest of you guys doing?
Let's go check out this. I'd like to go check out the cistern once.
Yeah, I think if
I think if they've gone in to talk to her, I'm gonna head back to the camp, start packing our stuff up.
So Volker leaves and kind of bounds out the door, and Abel, this place is a little bit. You've seen this before, so it's a little bit reminiscent. So you're kind of standing there, and as you stand there, and everybody else leaves and leaves, when Volker ran out, he kind of kicked one of the paintings that was down on the ground, and it kind of knocked it askew a little bit. And as you're getting ready to leave, you realize that there's something behind one of those paintings that he knocked.
Well, I'll go over there and pick it up and put the painting back in position.
Okay. What it was is that this is one of the ones that was down on the ground, and you realize that the painting had kind of like gone up this way. And what had happened is that some of it had apparently Nuella is kind of dealing with Madame Delphina, and you realize that there's a different painting on the back of this one that has been painted on both sides.
What does that depict?
The other side, this first side is definitely green and bright and blue, and on the other side is a dark brown and red and some yellow. So it's different than any other painting. So it would take you to essentially just kind of flip this one up and take it off the hinges and then flip it around.
Okay, I do that.
Okay. As nobody's looking, you pick this one up and turn this one around. And this one kind of shocks you to the core as soon as you see it. There is a giant beast, which is bent over, throwing buildings and people into the air and eating them in his maw, and looking you directly in the eye are these bright, fiery yellow eyes that just gleam with pure intelligence as you realize that this is the Tarrasque absolutely decimating an entire vibrant city and just having thousands of people as it's pouring off of its mouth and entire buildings going down into its maw. And within the painting itself, it looks like the Tarrasque is actually just out of one eye looking directly at the painter itself, and just with a keen intelligence just staring directly at essentially you, the viewer.
Do I go into post-traumatic stress,
A little bit. I mean, it is as if this person is looking at this from maybe a mile or so away, because the people that it's like dropping into its mouth are like that size. They're tiny, and there's just thousands of them just being dropped from a huge claw, and he's standing and towering over a city that's just on fire and burning. And not only its people, like buildings and stuff, and it's just gulping, but it has this one eye which is looking out towards the person and then you could just see the town is just completely razed and just destroyed. Yes, Barman.
Does Barman see this happening?
Barman because Abel was the last one. Barman stops and sees that Abel is just kind of staring at the painting. He didn't even put it back. He just turned it around and just leaned it and is just kind of staring at the painting.
Out of character, is there any reason why Abel would not have shared anything with Barman?
I don't know.
No,
Abel?
I've probably told you that.
Okay.
Okay.
So if Barman sees him looking at this picture on like kind of a cold
Well,
shiver,
you don't see him looking at this. You see him looking at something, but you don't know what it is.
do I notice like a change in him at all?
He seems to be standing there staring at this painting, which he didn't give two flips about before.
If I see what it is that he's looking at, I will probably go intervene at some form.
Okay. Yeah, it takes a few beats. As a matter of fact, you call out his name twice and he doesn't even respond. He's just kind of staring at the painting, just like it just not in horror, but just like, I can't believe I'm seeing this.
Is Delphina there? Or she's still inside, I guess.
They're still inside, yes.
Okay.
Barman, you go up to Abel, who's just kind of standing there.
I think I would probably like try and like turn the painting around and be like, so what do you think of this place? It's pretty crazy, huh?
Okay. As you both do that, hang on. You can start to hear from the inside. You hear Noella saying, "Oh no, it's okay, it's okay." She's not talking to you. You can hear her say, "It's okay," but you hear a really old and very faint voice going, "Yoakti, Yoakti, Yoakti." And she goes, "Oh no, it's okay." And you look inside, and then Noella is actually trying to brush the hair of Madame Delphina, who is getting louder and louder. And every time she's going, "Yoakti, Yoakti."
Was I still there? I didn't think I said
No.
I left yet. But
I
okay.
thought she was still there. But
I
anyway.
didn't say I'd left yet.
Okay, well, yeah, you're still there.
Is she
What?
is
Go
she
ahead.
okay?
Um.
Miss Noella?
Oh yeah. It's, please go. It's okay. She just has these spells. Please go.
What is she saying? I'm sorry if I'm not understanding what you are saying. She is saying.
It's okay. No. I mean, what I'm saying is that
So they were nonsensical words, is what you're saying.
there was one word that you do not understand the language of what she's saying, but
I
she is.
didn't understand any of the words you said. That's what I'm saying.
What's one word? It's the same thing.
Oh,
over and
okay.
over again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not different words. She's just saying one word that you don't
I
understand.
mean,
And it's not in a language I know.
I understand what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well, that's as much as you get.
okay.
So it's neither any of my languages. Okay.
No.
I'm very sorry if we've upset her. Please have a good day. I'm gonna start to back away.
Does Barman? Sorry, go ahead, Abel.
I think so that painting's loose. And is
Yeah.
it canvas? What is it?
No, it's
Planks of
actually it's actually planks of wood that have just been put together, and it's kind of like there's planks of wood, and so there's stuff on both sides.
Okay. I guess I carry it into that room with the old lady,
Okay.
and I asked if she was there.
She doesn't seem to respond to you, but the one thing that she does is she was kind of looking whenever you started hearing these things, as you heard going, "Yohakti, Yohakti." She was kind of like looking up, and then as you get closer and you say you've got the painting, and you come up to her, she like looks down and is looking directly at you and is going, "Yohakti, Yohakti," but doesn't seem to focus. She's just looking directly at you.
Barman cast comprehend languages.
Okay. The word, you don't know the language, but the word means the beacon or the guiding star? That's what she's saying. She's saying something along those. Sometimes you get it. It means the beacon. Sometimes it means the guiding star. In languages you do know, it could translate to either. But at this point, Madame Delphina is getting upset, like very upset, and Nuella is please, you're upsetting her soul, please.
I ask if I can keep this painting.
No, this is all she has.
Can I buy it?
Just come back tomorrow, please. Just leave, and please leave her alone.
Well, I set the painting in the corner and walk out.
Okay. As you guys are there, she's getting louder and louder. Yo hakti, to the point where then all of a sudden she's just hoarse because she probably hadn't spoken in so many years. She's and she's just continuing to try to say this.
I think we messed that up.
I think you broke that old lady.
What was that, Abel?
Nothing.
Okay. What was she saying? Okay.
When all three of you exit and you start making your way, as Hanoa was asking these questions of Barman, is asking these questions of Abel. Barman is looking with concern and kind of walking next to Abel and kind of like looking at him sideways without out of slight concern.
Okay.
But all three of you guys head once you leave the place, that door slams and you guys can hear it lock, and then you can kind of hear like you wouldn't even hear curtains being drawn, but then you can hear the shutters being shut.
Yeah, we messed that up. Let's go.
Okay. So back to the three of them catch up both to Anyu and Folker, who are
I
at.
wanted to go to the cistern.
Yeah, I'm at the cistern with Folker.
You guys are at. Okay, you guys went ahead and went there before going back to your fire, dropping off anything, or are you going to go straight?
Well, we
to
went
the
back and
system?
dropped stuff off. This was
Okay.
a bit of an exchange.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. By the time you guys get to the cistern, it's a little bit. It's been maybe a couple hours with the general store and then this, so it's not. It's probably about 1 or 2 o'clock by now. When you get to the cistern, just letting you know, guys,
Okay.
reference was about a time. Yeah. The entrance is still there's still some guards there. Once you go inside the cistern again, you realize that there are for whatever reason there are no guards that are sitting in the area in which guarding the 2 storage areas, but there's still torches which are lit, and you guys go inside of the cistern. There are 2 other people in here bathing. They don't seem to be paying much attention, but and none of them are around the area in which you remember the stone being, but there are at least 2 other people in here.
All right. Well, we go to
Yeah,
where the hole
yeah.
was.
Making my way back to that area, the cistern.
Okay. All right. So the whole group kind of goes to this area. Are you guys going to be? Are you being stealthy about like the what you guys are looking for, or pretending to bathe, or are you just kind of like just
Nope.
walking
no,
up?
we're just going.
Are any of the guards the ones that look familiar?
You mean from earlier?
Mm-hmm. Because I think we saw like two rounds of guards.
Right. Yeah. You don't remember if they were or not. They very well could be, but it wasn't something you paid that much attention to during that time. And none of them strike you as the ones that were from before.
How do you folks want to do this?
See if we find the hole first.
Yeah, we find the place where the hole is, and then I guess proceed to break the wall down.
Anya was one of the first ones that because she had been there so many times and had seen it. She knows exactly and finds that rock. And the rock is back in where it was, but it definitely is not cemented in. So it's placed back where it was, but it's not cemented in, and it's kind of sticking out just a little fraction. So you had zero problem instantly going and saying, that's it right there.
So it's been moved again.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll point that out to whoever gets as people catch up and be like, this has been moved again. You can see clearly that the crease has been broken.
All right, let's pull it out.
So
I pass out 3 warhammers to anybody who wants them.
I just thought you were gonna say you pass out.
As soon as I've got my bow and arrow with me, so
I don't know if you wanted to break open the wall using these hammers.
I'm
I'll
going
start
to
swinging away.
knock an arrow and have an arrow pointed at the hole, not drawn, but I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to have them open it up in case there's something on the other side. I'm going to put a arrow.
We're
through it.
really doing this?
At least
I'm
it's
gonna
on the
grab
other
one of
side.
grab one of the warhammers as well and pass one to Hanoa. I guess she's
I-
already.
Don't know if I can swing this well enough, but okay.
You don't need to do that. Just use your powers.
The hell? Oh.
Should we make an announcement to the guards before we do this? Don't we-
Yeah.
don't we
I thought there were no guards.
Yeah, there's no guards inside here.
Yeah, they're all off duty again.
They're outside. the
There's
tunnel?
they're on the outside, but there's none on the inside.
Matt, we can't hear you.
Yeah, Matt,
You're muted.
Muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was coughing. So there are guards at the front entrance, but then there's 60 feet before you get to the cistern.
Well, sure.
And
Okay.
then
There
it's
were
like,
storerooms before.
and then it's like, yeah, and then it's like 50 feet around. So you guys are like 90 feet away from where the guards at the front were. But yes, halfway down the 60 feet, about 30 feet, there was open doorways where there were storerooms. Those guards are not there.
Right.
Right.
The ones at the
Real quick
very, very
question.
front entrance, they are there.
The guards at the front didn't question 5 fully armed people walking into the cistern.
No, I mean 5 fully armed people could be going to bathe, but no, there's no.
Okay. Then I don't normally take my gun to the shitter.
It's kind of like the C squad right now too. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, but you must not go to the shitter in Little Rock then.
No, not so often. Excuse me. I kind of speak up to one of the other bathers. Preferably a male bather if there's a.
They're both happen to be male. And one of them seems to be getting his stuff together and looks around and sees like, his clothing. First of all, while you're doing that, and you could, the first rock that was stuck back in there, it's just, you could shake it and pull it out. So you just managed to, and just kind of pull this rock out, which, if you remember, was a pretty good sized rock, but it's not ridiculous. It's probably 25 pounds, and then you put that one down.
So we're gonna be making a racket over here. If you could, if you're leaving, if you wouldn't mind telling the guards, we're gonna see where this hole goes. That'd be great.
The one that was gathering his clothing and such, kind of looks at you and gives you a strange look, and then just kind of walks around silently and just keeps going.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Wall.
The other guy appears to be like he's maybe slightly older, and he doesn't seem to be paying any attention at all.
Well, he's gonna have a story.
So
Okay.
he's just kind of sitting down, and he's just kind of bathing, and he's got his back to you, and doesn't even seem phased.
Well, here's hoping he's fully deaf. So.
I'm gonna go over to the hole and give it a listen.
But he's a good easily 60 something feet away because it's across the entire cistern.
Sure.
So
I'm gonna hold this rock, and out of character, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna fail at this perception check, but I would like to listen at the hole one more time. See if I hear the voices again. So roll perception, yes?
Mhm.
Okay. That's 7.
okay.
More than 5.
When she takes the rock out and is putting it down, and you kind of just stick your head over there, and you don't hear anything, but it's difficult because the wind outside and you just don't hear anything.
Well, okay, Fulker had an idea. So I step back. Let's all step back a moment. And I stick out my hand and I say, Vakraktul. I think that's what the words I said. Or is that the thing for go fornicate yourself in Orcish that I came up with?
I think that was the.
Vetrakul. That's what I say. And I'm going to cast Eldritch Blast at the wall just north of the hole. See if that force damage will do anything.
Okay.
I will roll something for that. I haven't added. I took Agonizing Blast, so my Eldritch Blast gets +2 to it. I haven't fixed it yet, so just.
So it's +2 to hit.
No.
+2 to damage.
To damage. So that was a 12-2 hit. The wall.
Okay.
I'll roll damage, or.
No. Because you're attacking stone, which let you know just out of character, the stone has an AC of 17. So when your blast lights up, this entire room gets this weird glow of like this flash of strange green, which is not a bright green, but kind of like a dullish green marbled with black. And just this blast just kind of goes whoosh, like that. But your arcane energy just goes and smashes into the stone and just does not appear to do anything to it. But there's little flecks of mortar which kind of come down, like little motes of mortar come down.
Well, it was a cool idea, Folker, but guess not. Maybe a hammer. That was neat, wasn't it?
Who has the hammers?
Who has the hammer? Anya has a hammer.
Yeah, I have one of them. At this point, I would be, I think, seeing this full force in front of me, I'd probably drop the rock, not just I'd put it aside very quickly.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
grab the hammer or the whatever the tool that Barman's passed out, and just look over at Hanoa and say, "Hey, there's sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty." And I'm just gonna pick at the hole.
Okay. 3 quick strikes of just ping, ping, chonk, and one of the things just breaks in half and falls inward, and you hear clank, clank, clank as you've cracked one of the rocks like directly below this hole in half.
Hey, I loosened it up for you.
Teamwork.
You own half the rope.
It's popsicle
How
time.
big was the rock that fell into the hole?
Guys,
the one
it's
that we just
popsicle
knocked
time.
out.
It's about half the size of the one that you took out by hand.
Okay.
So it just with another quick strike of your hammer, because you got that, you break that rock. So now you've got a hole about this size, almost 2 feet that you can see. Both the one you went inside the room and then must have fallen just a little bit, and then the other one you knocked out and it fell outwards.
Okay, so theoretically, the rock that was the original, the original rock, could fit through the hole now.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take that rock and I'm gonna push it through, and I want to do I guess an investigation or some sort of listen check to see if when it hits the ground I hear anybody or thing.
Well, the first thing is that Folker makes a little bit of a noise, because Folker, you see with your passive perception, you definitely see that there was some sort of flash of light somewhere within that, not that room, but somewhere beyond in the hole. And since there was a quick flash of light and you let this rock go on the inside, it only falls 2 feet before it hits the ground, and you can hear it go and like a stone falling on stone. So it only fell 2 feet.
Okay.
That light's back in there. You guys see that?
See what?
The flash of lights in there. There's
Oh.
still something in there.
It's very, very faint, Folker, but you can tell that it's coming from a little bit deeper within and kind of down.
All right.
Can we go in?
This whole
It would
thing.
be somebody would have to squirm through the hole, but if you were to knock out one more brick, anybody could pretty much just step over one of the last 2 rocks and step into this area.
No, I'm winding up again for another swing.
Okay. Crack, crack. It only takes you 2 times this time, and you just knock this one, and this one also falls inside. And so you realize that there is a fairly small chamber beyond you have 3 holes. So you've got, I'm trying to say, it's about 3 feet by about 1.5 feet in which you can go in.
Let's do it.
Well, everyone have their stuff?
But I mean, it's dark.
Is it?
Hold on. Wait. There
Grab
are.
a torch from the wall. I'll carry
Master
one.
Dwarf, you want to give a peek in there for us?
If you want to, you could go back and go grab one of those torches from the 60-foot part, because once you get into the cistern itself, there are no torches on the wall. It's very, very dark in here. But you can go get one of the torches from the entrance if you like.
I will go get one.
Okay. All right, and yeah, the one you grab is good enough for probably at least an hour. It's fairly fresh.
I could have sworn that the night before I also grabbed a torch.
You may have put it back.
You grabbed one and snuffed it. You specifically said you grabbed one and snuffed it. I grabbed
Right.
some and threw it on the ground to light up part of the cistern. But you should still have a snuff torch.
Yeah, I should, because I did that purposely so we would have something. I don't think I put it in my inventory. But I did adamantly say that.
Mhm.
So,
Well, maybe it's just in the with your stuff back at the camp.
oh, okay, fair enough.
So I come walking in with a torch. We got a torch.
Okay.
All right.
There is a room beyond this hole, and the room is maybe something like 10 feet by 15, and it's kind of circular. It's not a square room, so it's a little bit oblong. But at the far end of that, you can tell that there appears to be a hole in the ground, and there is a wooden post which appears to have a hole around it. So there's a wooden post up ahead, and it goes into this hole. But there's space. The hole itself is like 5 feet in diameter, and the wood post is like 2.
What else is in the hole? Does it go all the way down?
It just goes down into darkness.
Volker, check this room before you trample this thing out. Are there signs of anybody being here?
What would you like me to check for that?
With a passive perception that keeps going now, you see that you can see you and probably Abel, since Abel's putting the torch in there, what looks like torchlight, which looks like flickering light, all of a sudden comes up from the bottom of the hole there. And with the torch inside of this room, you can see that there are notches which are cut into this post like it would be handhold notches and foot notches to go downward. So this is almost like a what do you call it, a telephone pole that would have notches in it for hand footholds to go downward.
On the inside of the hole, is it dusty?
Yes.
Okay. My very first thing before we step foot in there, now that we can actually get in there and look, is do I see any footprints in the dust?
No.
No, none at all. Do I see any?
No, but there's also, just letting you know that there's also, it's pure rock inside, and there's also mortar which she's been smashing at the wall. So there's mortar and pieces of rock which have gone inside of here.
Right, but you said that it's an oblong room. Looking
Right.
at the hole.
What looking upwards, mainly what you get is that there looks to be dust and some old cobwebs which haven't moved in the ceiling. The floor is difficult to get any kind of.
All right. Well, there's no reason for us to go off here killing ourselves over this. We see a way down, which means we see an entrance in, and we don't know where it goes. And I think someone mentioned the dwarf had mines around here. I mean, Lord knows one could be coming up right here. So let's go tell the guards. Now they can't deny that there's something in here. Let's leave it over to them. Unless you guys want to go crawling down this hole in the middle of nowhere.
Not particularly.
I mean, it's interesting, but
So here's the thing though, is that these
Oh, no.
tunnels Supposedly they go all over this place. This could be this could be our exit too.
Could be.
Oh.
I say we explore a little further with that purpose in mind.
All right. Well, Master Dwarf, you want to poke your eyes over that hole at the very least before I go crawling down there? You can see better than I can.
I'll take a peek down the hole.
Down the hole.
I should be able
With
to see
the
like
with
120 feet.
the torchlight, you can at least see what an additional 60 feet.
I think I can
Is that
see
right, or 30?
I think I see 60 in.
He sees 60 and then 120 in dark in dim.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's plenty because this pole goes down for 15 feet. Actually, I'm sorry, it goes down 20 feet. As a matter of fact, a lot of that is just the cylinder, so it's not wide open. So you could easily put a back up against there and crawl down so that you wouldn't slide down this thing, slide down the pole. But then it opens up into a chamber down there, and once you're kind of standing and looking over this, every now and then you definitely see what looks like to be like flickering fire or flickering torchlight, which is fairly dim coming from down there. This is all stone. It's all rough stone. None of this is like carved or hewn, any kind of stone. So these are stones which have been mortared together. But at the very end, you could definitely tell that after about 10 feet, it opens up into a wide chamber down there. But the chamber goes in one direction. It goes off to your left, so that this pole exits, and then there's only one exit which goes off to your left, which, because of the hole's smallish diameter, you can't see very far down there. Plus it's like 10 feet of pure rock.
Which way is to the left? Like, is that back to, like, up here? Like, where does that go? Does it go back to the longhouse, or does it go to?
No, that would be going deeper into. That would be going deeper towards the cistern. So.
Okay.
To you guys, to your eyes, definitely being a dwarven underground, if you had to imagine this would look like almost like a bottle. Like there's a large round circular base to it, and then the pole would be like a straw that you were going down through the neck until you got into the base of the bottle.
Does this look like dwarven structure?
No, it does not. As a matter, knowing for a fact but that's what I was trying to say. These are rocks that have not been. They've been fitted, but they are not been hewn and carved. These are just raw rocks that somebody has put together, much like the cistern. The cistern itself has no dwarven construction whatsoever.
So what's it look like?
Looks like a bottle.
Good to go down.
Looks like a bottle.
It does open up down there, and it looks like it goes back off towards the cistern.
The smell in here is you don't get much. There's not much airflow, and so the smell itself does smell kind of dusty and like old air.
Here's the thing: when we were in the woods, never mind.
What?
I start climbing down the pole.
I was already there. I would have
Okay.
started. My goal was to, before you could have gone down, I would have gone down first as stealthily as possible. So I want to stealth down the pole.
Do you have
Carmen.
do you have any light source?
No.
I'll
Except
stand
for-
over it with light.
And
Okay.
the flickering light that's down below every once in a while. Literally
That's faint. That would be,
sure, but
give
anything over total darkness is
right. But what I'm saying is that definitely his torch standing over there gives you well enough that you don't have to take any kind of disadvantage to stealth down. As
Okay.
long as there's light to look at where these holes are, then you have no problem. Go ahead and just make a athletics check to go down.
Jeez, okay. 12.
Okay. The holes and us being able to put your back against the thing, you make it down to the very bottom easily.
Do you want me to roll a stealth for trying to do it quietly?
Once you climbing, there's no problem to it.
Okay.
There's no problems climbing down it stealthily. Once you're at the bottom, if you're going to move, then yes, you're going to need a stealth.
Okay. As soon as
But I don't know if anybody else is going to go down there with you, because once you're down here and the light is way up high, then you have no visibility down here beyond what the light from up there is illuminating just this area. It does look like that it goes up just a few feet, maybe 10 feet, and then turns to your right. But there are some objects that are in this area, and they look to be like in the darkness. You can tell maybe they're jugs, or they're mounds of some objects which have been placed all along the walls here.
Okay, well, even if I can't, I mean, there has to be, if there was some flicker of light that could be determined up a 15-foot or up a 20-foot shaft at a 90-degree angle, there has to be some amount of light that I can see outside of this 10-foot circle of dim light coming from above, right?
Well, right now there isn't.
There isn't. Okay.
Like I said, it flickers. So.
Okay.
I set my halberd to the side and I start to climb down, torch in hand.
Well, whatever I'm going to guesstimate as being the closest wall, I'm going to try to slide away from the bottom of the pole towards that wall, knock an arrow, and wait.
Okay. So give me a stealth check, and then Abel, make an athletics check.
I was gonna ask to hold the torch, but sure.
Noah, give me your rope. We'll tie a rope around the halberd and lower it down.
I'd leave it up here. I don't need it.
Okay.
Do you want a hammer?
I mean, I was gonna ask.
I got a flail. I'm good.
Wait, Abel, don't take the torch yet. I want to go down there too. Do we all want to go down there? I think we all do. Barman, you hold the torch at the top. You can see better than us, and then bring the torch down to us.
It's first of all, Abel, I need you to make your athletics check to go down.
I made a 5.
I was trying to stop him.
Okay. You almost lose your grip and almost fall, but this happens on the first 10, so you still had your back up against the wall at this point. You think that maybe you either need to drop the torch onto the ground or have somebody else hold it for you to go the rest of the way, but it's just too tough for you to go down while holding the torch. You could either drop it below, and you're guessing that the light, even illuminated below, would still be sufficient to be able to see all the handholds going down.
My inability to climb down a ladder has brought me back to reality that we should not be in here at all.
No,
I climb back up and I hand the torch off.
I'll hold it. Now you go.
Just while holding a torch, it's very difficult.
It's a ladder.
Go, Sir Judge. I have your light.
I climb down the ladder. All right, so I attempt to climb down the ladder. Let me try that again. Oh, I'm really good this time.
I'm sorry you don't like the way the game mechanics work.
I don't, but that's okay. I rolled an 18 that time. I grip it. I quit trying to climb down, and I just grip it and slide. How much damage style? To my arms?
How many splinters?
Splinters, paper pole.
You don't do any damage to your arms. You make it down just fine.
Barman, what were you just saying? In the woods, you trailed off.
We'll talk about it later. It's not important.
No.
Let's get down here. It's fine.
Let's go into an ominous dark hole without information.
It's nothing. It just was something about the goblins and how weird it was. It's
how weird was it?
What does it have to do with the hole?
Nothing. I just feel I don't feel good. I have really bad stomach ache right now, and I think it has to do with this place. But we'll see.
While holding the torch, Abel, you're able to give light enough to the people that want to climb down.
I don't have the torch. I handed the torch off to Hanan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, down here, you could pretty much just see. You could see Folker, who's got an arrow knocked, and he's kind of up against the wall, just kind of waiting for people to show up.
I'm gonna go and get my own damn torch.
Okay.
So you just let me know how far I need to go back to get that.
Not just back to your camp.
Okay.
So are you gonna run there and run back?
Or you just grab another one off the wall.
Oh yeah.
One.
Oh okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said your own damn torch, like you were gonna grab.
Yeah. Like I would like to grab a torch for myself so that we're not relying on
I'll go ahead and climb
someone
down
else
too.
here.
Get down
Okay.
where the judge is.
Climbing down. Go ahead and make a roll. Your athletics check.
Maybe I'll just jump.
Cannonball.
Cannon dwarf.
What'd you get?
I rolled a 5.
5's the good number for session 5.
Going down, you get to the point where your back is no longer against the wall.
Catch me,
And
Judge.
the question is, do you want to go further, or do you want to what do you call it? Do you want to just drop?
I'll just drop.
Okay. You take a point of damage as you drop the last 10 feet. And Folker, you definitely hear something coming from the other room, although it sounds like the cessation of no, it's something other than. I'm talking about the room in
Other
which
than incoming door.
the flickering was coming from.
Well,
It just sounds like something got moved.
as soon as I just also heard the sound of a door thumping against the ground. So
Yep.
I unconsciously say I'm okay.
Shh.
Okay. Both Hanoa and you come rushing back with Hanoa's got one torch, and now you've come bearing another.
Okay.
Also,
I'm going,
also Abel, you just left your halberd up here, right?
I did.
Okay.
I'm gonna snuff out my torch.
Okay.
We have a few lit already.
You have one.
Yeah. Okay.
I have the one. Okay.
I'll take that back from you if you're down here.
No, she's not.
We
No,
haven't
she's
got
not.
that
Oh,
yet.
I'm sorry.
Climb
I'll
on
look
down.
over at Hanoa and ask her if Hanoa, if I can help you down in any way, I will. I'll be right behind you.
Okay. I'll go down. I guess. Am I giving you the light source, or am I gonna try to take the light
No,
source?
I'll.
Because I wanted Barman to hold it because he could see better. But okay, he already went. What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it, and
Okay.
I'll.
Athletics check on the way down.
7.
Okay. Once again, you get to the spot, and you're able to make it down just fine. All right. So the last person up at the top with the torch is Anu.
Yeah, I'm. Just let me know what I need to do.
Roll an athletics check if you're going to go down.
I'm going.
Okay.
$22.
All right. You make it down while holding the torch without any problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
When you get down, everybody kind of now gets to see this entire room. This is not a very big room down here. It is only about 5 feet wide. And so it's pretty much single file, because a lot of the when you guys down here to your right is on the right hand side of this passageway. Folker is first, and you can see that just about 5 feet past him there's a sharp turn to the right, and everybody's kind of lined up behind him. But once the light is down here, on the far wall across from you, on the left wall, there are all kinds of clay jugs and just these, looks like these massively wrapped either carpets or big sheafs of something that are kind of caked in mud. There's just a bunch of stuff which is on this wall, and it all kind of looks like it's wet and old and covered in dust.
Charming.
Okay. And look into one of the pots.
Before
I'm
I'm
gonna
head to the entrance, the transition to the next room. So while there's I don't care about what's in this room. There's no threat. So, and I'm going to try to stay as stealthy as possible within the room. So
Okay.
outside of the firelight, not casting a shadow, angling myself, things like that.
So you're going to lean in? Are you going to lean in with your bow first drawn and kind of look that way?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So
All right. Are you just going to look? Are you peeking around completely?
I'm peeking around completely, ready to drop an arrow into something I don't like.
Okay. you can definitely see that as soon as you turn, Anu, and you and were you just you or you and Hanoa looking at the other side of the other stuff?
Well, Hanoa's looking at the.
Hanoa's looking at it. I'm probably I wasn't really doing anything, but if I see Folker moving forward, I imagine my character would start to advance stealthily as possible. Not real that
Okay.
slick, but
So Folker, you get a quick glimpse of a small black sooty type of creature who has its back to you, and inside this chamber, the next chamber is fairly small. It's only about 15 feet in diameter, and it's enclosed. There's no other exits from there, but there are scrolls and pots and all kinds of paper all over the place, and all throughout in here there's just these scrolls and bound up big jugs and just tons of just papers and scrolls and clay jugs of different things throughout here. And there's this, it's a fairly small creature that is dark and rocky, and then it kind of picks up and it seems like it might notice you, and you realize that the flash of light you see is in between like the dark parts of its skin. Flashes of light looking like magma kind of just illuminate, and the thing just kind of flickers like a torch and then kind of goes dark again, and it seems like it heard something and it kind of stops. Noah, there is most of the stuff is just gross looking things. This stuff is covered in mud and everything, but there's one large ream, like it's like this, it's like a bunch of paper that looks like it's kind of wet. It's bound and it's all like this, but it has some symbols which you can kind of see are underneath like all the grime, and the symbols look odd. You can almost make them out, but you kind of have to wipe off the dust to see what these symbols are.
Okay.
Make a stealth check for this real quick, Folker.
Okay. It's an 8.
Had to happen at some point.
Man,
Yeah.
we're all rolling wonderfully today, aren't we?
We got the gremlins.
Jesus.
Fucking roll 20. God, bullshit.
The
I've never seen so many single-digit numbers on one part of roll 20.
whatever this star creature turns around, and its sharp teeth and its glowing eyes turn, and then it kind of goes into flame and goes, and then initiative.
I believe I would hear that. Yeah, I hope I hear that.
Yeah,
All of us, or
yes, everybody.
Considering that I had my bow drawn and trained,
Yes, absolutely.
release that arrow as a first action, regardless of what my initiative is, or is that
No,
until I go?
Yep. Nope, you will be able to do that. So, but roll initiative. So you got the order. How do
You need to put the order bar up. We need to
fuck.
Gotta have tokens up.
but we don't have tokens to click to populate it.
But we could all just click it and remember.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
clicking it.
yeah, let's just do that because there's no map for this.
I got a 7.
Okay.
Here, I'll write it down.
You get it written down. Okay.
Wait,
Fireman got a
Fireman goes
6.
at 6, yes.
go.
Ooh. Abel got a 17.
Hey, Matt, just to
High five, Folker.
Yeah, look at this. I got a 7.
And you got an 18.
I got an 18.
Jesus, what is
just
up with these?
just so we remember, has it been over an hour since we were talking with the lady and she started screaming?
No.
Okay, so I do still have comprehend languages up.
Right. Is it a concentration though?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Nice.
Yeah,
Really, it's not?
that's what I don't. Let me double
No.
check, but I didn't.
Cool.
Doesn't
You're
say.
muted.
Just says it lasts an hour.
Wow, that's fancy.
Nice.
Okay. Okay. So Who's at the top?
Anyu's at the top.
I'm at the top.
Unless the bad guy is at the higher. I don't know what he's at.
Okay. And you see, before the initiative goes, though, Folker, you may release and fire, since you pretty much just had it trained on there. When it turned around and gave you a snarl that was menacingly, I'm pretty much sure you just like,
Let go. Yep.
Okay.
23 to hit.
There we go.
Oh, there's the rolls.
Okay. So everybody knows that the first thing he does is he doesn't make a sound. It's all of a sudden just releases this arrow, and the arrow goes and definitely hits the creature, and it go ahead and roll your damage.
11. That's
Okay.
max damage. Yay for fighting style archery at level 2.
The arrow strikes completely true. You hear it, and it sounds like it hit rock, and you just feel like that thing should have gone right through it, but it was like, bing! It definitely did some damage to it as the thing goes, and it strikes, because it struck him right in the chest, right here, on the opposite side of like the heart, but it just struck right here, and it kind of hit in there, but you realize it's like, man, that just was like hitting rock.
I'm not getting that arrow back.
Yeah, that arrow also shatters. So,
I'm not getting that arrow back. All right.
right, who is next? Who is first in the order?
And you.
I think
And
I
you.
am.
With an
Okay.
18.
So I'm gonna guess this is a bad. Yeah, fuck it. We're just gonna fight. I'm gonna grab my amulet, and I'm going to. Where is it? I don't have this one. I'm going to mumble something angrily, incoherently, and I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt on
Okay.
the target.
You need to move forward a little bit because
Okay.
you haven't seen it. So it's for you to get into view. You actually push past a couple of the other people. When you get on beside Folker, the entrance to this small area is big enough for two of you guys to be side by side.
Okay.
So you only need to move 15 feet, but you actually have to push by 10 feet two other people to get there. And
Okay.
and they're able to see them hold out the symbol and cast Guiding Bolt.
Mhm.
Okay.
Apologies. Yeah, I'm used to the visuals. I got no map here.
That's okay.
No, it's an 11 with the Guiding Bolt, and that was I think there's a save to this one.
That's 11
There's the
damage.
attack. There's not normally a save.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's-
so yeah, it's just a.
That's an 11 to hit.
Mhm.
Okay. The radiant energy from your guiding bolt goes and flashes and lights up this room, and it just misses and just goes beyond that. You were just kind of shocked and thinking that this thing might have been taller than it was, but it's not. It's rather short, and so you just overshoot the top of it, and your radiant ray just goes. The one thing that you do notice is that there is a second one of these things in here.
Okay.
And it was kind of back a little bit further behind this thing, and now all of a sudden the radiant light shines up, and there's a second one on the other side.
Okay.
It's about 5 feet back behind this one. It was looking back underneath some of these other clay things that you guys didn't see it when you first looked in. Okay, who's after Anu?
I am at 17.
Okay, you're up.
I will pull out my flail,
Mhm.
and I'll move to where I can see what's going on.
Okay. If you want to, you could pretty much just go and kind of leapfrog in between Folker and Anu and get in front of both of them, and you could choose to be 5 feet in front of either one of those two, and then you would just need another 5-foot step, and you could attack this thing. You got plenty of movement because that would only take 10, 15. That would take you 20 feet to get to it, if that's what you wanted to do.
I'm going to So basically, I can get to where I'm within 10 feet of one. Is what you're saying?
You can get to where you can hit it. It just yeah.
No. If I wanted to leave a 5-foot separation between
Yes,
me
you
and
could.
the bag, I could do that. Correct?
Yes, you could.
Okay, I'm going to move to there, and I'm going to ready a spell. The trigger will be if whichever one of them moves to advance towards us.
Okay, what spell you ready?
Command.
Okay. Okay. All right, so you go and jump. Do you want to be in front of Folker or do you want to be in front of Anu?
Folker.
Okay, so yeah, you just pretty much go around him and he kind of drops the bow as he's grabbing another one to reload, and you just kind of put your hand on his shoulder, jump around there, and just get ready to cast a spell with the trigger of anyone that's moving forward.
Correct.
Okay. Who's next? What's the next in the order?
The next would be Folker at a 7.
Okay.
He tied with Hanoa, but I'm pretty sure his dex wins.
I would assume his dex is higher than mine.
But
Okay.
I don't know if the bad guys go before that, so
They
I don't know what they're at.
They don't go yet, but Folker, it's your turn.
Okay. Let me see. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to hold this 1 second. I'm gonna grab okay. So I'm going to whisper Pulbon to myself and use Hunter's Mark on the one that I hit already.
Okay, and what's that do?
It didn't throw it out there. 1 second.
You put it as an attack. It was supposed to be as a spell card.
It should be as a spell card. 1 second.
Okay.
Where's output? Spell card. There we go. There we go. So it's just verbal, 90 foot. It's a bonus action. Any creature I see within range is mystically marked as my quarry. Until the spell end, I deal 1d6 extra damage to target whenever they're hit by a weapon attack, and I have advantage on any wisdom, perception, or survival checks to find it.
Okay.
Target drops 0 hit points before its spell ends. I can use a bonus action to mark a new creature.
Got it. So Hunter's Mark goes up on the one that you've already shot?
Yep.
Okay. That's your bonus action?
Yep, and then I'm going to loose another arrow as my action.
Okay. Are you going to have Abel is standing directly in front of you? Are you going to take a 5-foot step and get in front of Anu to be able to fire? He's readying an action, so he can't move.
As long as can I not fire? I thought I could fire at any target, even if there was someone, as long as it's not the aggressor 5 feet from me.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
I can shoot over his shoulder.
Okay. Got it. That's good.
So
I just wanted to know how you were doing it. So
I'm not. I don't want to move because I don't want to mess up my aim. I feel like I've got a good position here.
Got it. So you go ahead and fire.
Yep. So this is going to be a 17 to hit.
17 hits.
So I do 6 damage for the bow attack plus 1d6 for the Hunter's Mark of 3, so 9 damage with that one. Assuming that arrow's toast as well.
That arrow is toast. What happens is that he kind of snarls. I say he, the creature snarls, opens its mouth. You see the flames within its jaw. You see these jagged teeth, and you can kind of see it looks like lava inside of its mouth. It opens its mouth and goes, ah! And the arrow goes directly into its mouth, pierces it, and the thing utterly explodes. And I need Anu, Folker, and Abel to make a saving throw, DC of 11. Dexterity.
24.
Okay.
Oh, critical
Nice.
success.
Natural 20.
Boom.
On a saving.
I rolled a 13. What'd you say it was?
11.
Okay.
So everybody saves. So everybody, all three of you take 5 points of damage. and that entire area is a complete conflagration. All those things go up in flames.
The scroll.
These entire things are going up in flames.
The lore.
You do hear who did not have to save and who has not gone.
I haven't gone yet.
Okay.
Those two haven't gone or
Both of you two realize that there is a very small creature which is way up at the top at the ceiling. It looks like a small squirrel with no hair, and it's kind of perched up there and had these large eyes, and it looks at both of you guys and it looks at both of you, and you realize that it screams, it goes "Ah!" and then it's just conflagged and destroyed.
Wait, I don't understand. This was up by where the.
It was up on top at the close to the ceiling, but you couldn't see it. It was hidden up amongst there, inside the room.
Okay.
Yeah, inside the room, kind of looking your guys' direction, but it was completely hidden up there. When this big fireball went off, it just conflagged this thing and just destroyed it, and that thing just goes up almost in a puff of smoke. Okay.
So many scrolls.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm sorry for Barman. I really wanted you to have all that paper.
I wanted to look at it. I don't know. Noah doesn't know that it happened.
You still have that one in your hands that you picked up.
Yeah, that's true.
It like I said, I don't know if you could tell. It's about almost 2.5 feet this way and about that big around. It's like a large ream of paper, like a large roll, almost like butcher paper.
Wow. Okay.
But it's wet and it's got some kind of clay covering and it's got these little symbols on it that you can't quite make out what they are yet.
Okay.
Well, that's my turn. So go for it. Scroll
No, it's
paper.
on Hanoa.
It's Hanoa.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will. Knowing there's action going on, I have this big thing. I'm going to gingerly, I guess, set it back where I found it. And if I come back, or if because I haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
So if I come up to behind Anu, do I see an enemy?
Yes. Yeah. This entire room, the back wall is just on fire, like with a blaze. Not just like a little bit of fire. It's a full on red fire, just on flames. There's not much left of a creature. You can see like little lava rocks around where this thing has just exploded. What you did see is you saw the 3 people that had made their way in. They all kind of jumped to the side and avoid the rocks as the flames just kind of come your way, but didn't get far enough to you. And then you jump in there and look and see there's another creature which is kind of just hunkering back there, looking at you. It's got flame-like eyes, and it's emitting this just glow. Like this thing is emitting quite a bit of light.
Okay. I will first off, out of like complete reaction, cast false life on myself using my fiendish vigor. So I get 1d4 plus 4 hit points. I guess I cast it as
Is
a
that
first.
is that a bonus action?
It is a action.
Okay.
I meant to. Okay, I don't know how to set things up at all in Roll20, so we're going to.
You just get 1d. Yeah, you get 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points.
1d4 4 plus 4. 7 temporary hit points. And that's one of my invocations, so that doesn't take up one of my packed slots. And then I will cast Hex on that one thing that I see.
Okay.
And Hex is a bonus action.
Hex is the bonus action. Got it. Okay. So yeah, as you just this whole room is just kind of lit with all this fiery light, but all of a sudden everything around Hanoa just kind of gets a little bit dark, and she gets this like smoky shell about her, and then all of a sudden she utters these words, and right around I need to make a save, or is it automatic?
Hold up. It's an invocation. It doesn't take a spell slot, but I cast it as a first level spell. So I don't know if you would allow me to do Fiendish Vigor and Hex on the same turn.
No, not if they're both actions.
No.
No,
One's a bonus action,
Hex
one's an
is-
action, but they're both
yeah.
spells.
Oh, they're both first level spells?
One of them is from an invocation, though. But it does say as first level spell. Okay, hold up.
Yeah.
I won't do False Life.
Okay.
I will cast Hex on that thing, and then I'll hold Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
Because I would, yeah, okay, Hex on it.
Okay. So you cast Hex, where all of a sudden there's just all these little black spots just kind of floating around and on around the skin and around the head of this creature.
And then if it moves to approach us or acts aggressively, I will be firing. I'm holding an Eldritch Blast to fire at it.
Okay. So you're holding that action to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And is that who's
And
next?
we're barman at 6.
Barman's at 6. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm just like kind of cowering as far back as I can in this room.
Yeah, but there's not much room to be able to get there. And you also did see this entire fireball just kind of envelop those people that were at the lip of the room.
Yeah, I'm moving a little bit away from that. How far away is this little creature that I see?
You don't see the creature unless you head up to where this group is.
No, are you talking about the one that got torched or the one that's still alive?
Whatever
The one that
that's
got-
still alive.
Oh, the one that's still alive. Yeah, you can't see that one.
Okay.
Because you're still close to where the pole was. Yeah. All you saw was just this flame coming out from where everybody else went and turned around and looked.
Yeah, I'm not going in that room. I don't see where people, like, there's people at the door. Like,
Yeah, we're all kind of clustered in there. They're all 4 of us are abreast, basically. So.
one of those 3, whoever they are, I guess it was Anu and Abel were in the back. I'm gonna say something encouraging to the judge.
Okay. You giving him inspiration?
No, I am, but I am also. No, I'm not. I'm gonna do this. Hold on. I'll be like, Judge, you're fucking on fire.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna kind of get out of the way of the door.
Okay. So this last creature finally can move forward. Now, Mac, your trigger command was on the one that you did see, the initial one, right?
He said,
No,
it was
you think that was-
with him.
I had
It was
seen
on
both of them, and it was
Okay.
on both of them.
Okay, that's fine. And the same thing with Hanoa as this one begins to move forward to attack the closest person, which would be Abel.
Okay.
So both of you guys, essentially, both your stuff goes on at the same time.
Okay, I command it to halt.
Okay.
And
What's
I
my-
blast it.
What's my save versus the hold?
I'm looking real
Natural
quick.
1. I don't blast it.
Oh no.
I blast something else, probably something bad.
Did that print?
Yeah, it popped up.
It's
Uh,
it's a wisdom save.
Which should be DC. You got to beat a DC 12.
DC 12. I rolled a 12. So
Okay. It does not halt then.
it does not halt, and it rushes up to you. As it's rushing, this green and black bolt just goes right past its head, over its shoulder, and you hear just as it hits some more of the fire, the stuff on fire. It rushes to attack.
I need a fireball.
It brings out one of its claws and tries to claw at you. AC of what?
9.
AC of 9. That's a 10 plus 4, so that hits. When it hits, you just feel this burning fire as it strikes you and does 4 points of damage. It just rakes, and the claws don't do as much damage as when it's passing by. Just this immense heat coming from its claws. What are you wearing?
Close.
Okay.
That's literally
Clothing.
he has no armor.
Yeah.
Clothes.
The clothes that you're wearing definitely get singed, and although they're not on fire, they start to burn, and your entire front of the entire front where the claw struck you is all just burned away. So you've got this hole in your clothes that are burned. Okay.
I got backup pair for you, man. We're good.
How much twine and did you get?
Dead man's clothes. I've got him.
All right. So back up to the next turn. I think who's the
So
top?
Anya's on the top.
Okay. How far away is this little?
You can step 5 feet forward and attack him.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to step 5 feet forward, and I'm going to look for my spells because I don't know where they went. There we go. I'm gonna touch my pendant again, and I'm going to say Zarin in a very angry voice, and I'm gonna cast Word of Radiance. And
Is that a range to hit, or is that a within?
you have
5?
to be within 5 feet.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. All right.
Mhm.
So. Okay.
So it's a DC 13 con save.
Yes.
All right.
How'd you get to print the save amount in there?
I entered all the stuff in manually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It was worth it, but it took a while.
Okay. And so, how much damage do you do?
It's 1d6 radiant damage.
Okay. Go ahead and go and roll that.
1d6. That's 5 damage.
Okay. As you stand there, just your radiance, just this divine energy, just envelops, starts from your feet and just bursts in a circle outwards, and it cowers, and you could tell that it just took the full blast of that radiant energy, and it just, and you could see little bits of soot and rock as it leans backwards, and all the soot and some of the fire and stuff is just blown backwards off of it.
Is
Who's
it
that?
still? Oh, I'm not done. If it's still standing.
Oh, it's still standing.
So I'm going to use War Priest. When you
Mhm.
use the attack action, you can make one weapon attack as a bonus action.
Okay.
And I'm going to swing at it with my mace.
All right.
Oh, for fuck's sake, that's an 8.
Okay. Even though you follow that up just with your mace, it just hits off the top, and you just realize it's like striking a wall, just tink,
Fair.
and it does appear to do no damage.
Okie dokie.
All right, who's after Anu?
I am.
Oh,
Okay. You've seen this stuff right here. It took a full brunt of radiant damage and made backwards, but she struck at it, and it just, you hear it like hitting rock. It just tink, and it didn't appear to phase it.
I'm gonna move around to behind it so it can't flee and
Okay.
strike at it with my flail.
Got it. So you kind of move in between, and you're looking at it, and then come around from the backside and hit. Go ahead and make an attack.
I rolled an 11.
The flail, all the little parts of that just scrape across it, and it's also like hitting rock. So it just appears that it didn't. The weapon just didn't bite.
And that lay on hands is an action, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Then that is all I do.
Okay. After you.
Volker.
After me is Volker at 7.
okay. Well, I'm going to back up as far from it as I can while still being able to see it, because I shouldn't be within 5 feet of it. It should be with 10 feet from me, because Abel was between
Correct.
Was-
the two of us a second ago.
You can back up. You can back up to get to the back wall. 10 feet. You can back up 10 feet and still have a direct line of sight into it.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
So you'd be a total of 15 feet away.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I'll just take a shot.
Did you
Actually, the first thing I'm gonna do is use my bonus action to skip my hunter's mark over onto it.
Right. I figured that was what you were
Right.
coming. All right.
So, because hunter's mark is as soon as my target dies, I can use a bonus action to
Understand.
switch it over. And I'll take a shot. 15 to hit with my longbow.
Yeah. The arrow once again, it finds a small purchase in between these rocks in which these larger weapons have been just kind of scraping up against. Both the mace and the flail just couldn't pierce these rocks, but you managed to get an arrow in between the two fissures of some of the rocks, and it strikes in. The arrow is gone, but go ahead and roll your damage.
Jesus, top damage again. So 11 for the arrow and 1d6 for the hunter's mark. 3, so 14.
So
So
I need
7.
I need both Anu and Abel to make saves. It's a DC dexterity DC 11.
I rolled a 15.
Okay.
7.
Anu is blown backwards for 9 points of fire damage as this thing totally explodes, and Abel, you take 4 points of damage as you just stand there and just this entire fireball just go boom for this 10-foot radius and just envelops you in fire, but you quickly just jump out of the way, Abel, but Anu, you don't manage to bump it, and it throws you up against the wall. You take a full 9 points of damage.
Are you conscious still?
Yeah, are you conscious?
Yeah,
Oh, thank God.
I'm still here.
Okay.
So there appears to be nothing else. Nothing else can see that is moving in here, other than just the walls, and all this stuff is just on fire in here. So you don't even need your torch. This room is pretty well
There's
lit.
plenty of light.
Extinguish the torch to save it for later.
Well, first thing I'm going to do, if once it blows, I'm going to rush over to Anu, who is knocked against a wall, and try to pat out any fire that might be on her clothing.
Yeah, a lot of her clothing is burning.
Yeah,
But
I'm there helping.
She gets up. She gets up. "Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
I start rolling on the ground.
Quit touching me!
Oh no.
Are
Abel,
we out of combat?
yes, we're out of combat. Abel, most of your shirt, at least at this point, is you weren't just slightly damaged, but your shirt is pretty much just in tatters from the fire.
Okay. Is the fire out?
Yes, yeah, you're
Okay.
out.
It looks pretty good.
But it just got blown away with the explosion.
It's a frontless shirt.
It's a frontless.
Is it like a vest now?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's a back bib.
It's
Awesome.
It's like a cardigan.
So I rotate it around.
So now it's a front bib.
The dicky.
Can I?
So there's fire everywhere. Nothing salvageable.
Can
But
I?
yeah, if there is anything that is salvageable, I'm looking for it, I guess. But
yeah, through the fire and flames.
Through the fire. Fuck you.
I'm gonna reluctantly cast Cure Wounds on myself
Ow.
I would like
because
to.
I'd rather not do that. But
I can heal you up if you'd like to save your spell.
you're looking for things right now.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay. So as Anu, you get up and grabs her holy symbol, and she's just enveloped in the radiant light of her hand, where she touches herself, and you realize that like the little bits of her hair that were kind of like still singeing and like curling up from the flame and stuff, they all kind of they go back to where they were, and she's like,
Still have. I don't
You healed
know.
her hair.
I got 6 points of damage. I don't know if I have eyebrows anymore, or 6 points of healing.
yeah.
Probably have like half of an eyebrow.
Well, you managed to save most of your clothes so that your modesty isn't intact.
Yeah.
But,
My
yeah,
chest's like
Bad.
super smooth now.
It is.
it's smooth and red like a raw lobster.
Yes.
And so
Chris
Abel.
Farley.
Abel, you were going to kind of look around the room. Is that what you did? Or
Yeah,
you
well, you said there was stuff on fire, but if there was any of these bundles that hadn't quite caught or anything, I might have dragged them to where they weren't.
well, one of the things is that there is a large pile of stuff, so you're not sure how much of the stuff underneath. The rest of the stuff is on full on fire, but if you want to take and kind of just shove this pile over, maybe you'll be able to see if there's stuff underneath it. But like I
From
said,
a real world point of view, that sounds terrible, but I'm going to do that.
Whoa.
Let's oxygenate this fire.
Shit.
okay.
Oh gosh. Well, at least I found that one thing back that way.
I'm gonna get
would-
the fuck
I
out of
would-
this room.
like to look at that at some point.
Yeah.
And for my 2 cents, I want to grab bits of the creatures. Anything cool enough to be.
It's hot rock. Hot rock.
Yeah, essentially. Okay, we'll go through these things. About Hanoa and Barman both like exit. Well, Barman never left the room. are back into that room where the rest of those papers were. And who's picking? Or barman, are you picking back up that large roll? Okay. All right, you pick that up, and Hanoa's over there and said, "Yeah, that I found that," and so you're holding that.
Yeah, I found that.
I made this.
You made this? I made
Um,
this.
when you get close to this, this is just a big pile. A lot of it was really wet. There was a lot of mud. There was a lot of dust on this, but it was a huge wall of fire, and it was still burning. The best thing that you think, and you know that if you push it, some of it's going to conflag, but you may be able to get some of the stuff that's down at the bottom. And so you just kind of take this wall as some of these other people have left. You just kind of take this wall and get close enough. It's real hot, but you just shove it over and just completely shove that stuff, and all the stuff that you shove catches on fire more, but you reveal what's underneath. And there's just mud and green, and it's all kind of wet, and you realize that it is not stuff underneath there. It is something in which you have never seen before, and don't even quite understand what it is, but there is a bipedal creature which is lying underneath all of this stuff. It is gray and purple and green, and it kind of just appears mostly dead, and then it just kind of moves, and you see some dull green eyes that looks like there's a reclining, like maybe 10-foot reclining mushroom creature with arms and legs just laying almost like in a fetal position in the corner where all this stuff was piled on top of it.
I throw up.
Shrew man.
Shrew man, come together.
You realize that some of the fire and that this creature is like leaking fluid from some of its feet, and it's just kind of lying there.
Does it look like it's cowering in terror?
No, it looks like it's dying.
I attempt to heal it.
Oh.
I
Okay.
lay hands upon the fungus creature. It sounds terrible.
Judge, don't get any of those leaking fluids on you.
As you do, it's part of its legs are like slightly catching on fire and burning away slowly.
God.
You lay your hands on it, and its eyes are kind of open, and it actually says something. When you touch it and you lay your hands, it says something, and you understand it in your mind, but it's kind of like talking to you in pictures, and it's saying to you, it says, "I'm already gone. I'm dying. Take my hand, please."
I take his hand. Is this Kawato? Am I?
It's a fucking mushroom creature. I mean, whatever voice I do is, I don't know. So
It's amazing. It's amazing. Don't change a damn thing.
Take my hand.
I take his hand.
You put your hand on this, and you realize that it's cold and wet, and then it almost looks like that this thing is sick, and it's got mortal injuries that you realize it's missing like an arm on the other side, and it is dying and was dying for a very long time, and you get the feeling that like it's been here for a very long time, but instantly you begin a journey in your mind, and suddenly you kind of look, and as you're touching this creature, you look and you kind of feel like you're looking out of its eyes at the rest of the group that you can see. And all of a sudden, like, you're looking at Anu and you're looking at Folker, and all of a sudden you just kind of look at them, and now they're looking in both their eyes. And suddenly you realize all of you guys, both Anu and Folker, can hear the voice in its head, and you understand that this thing is dying, and it's sharing with you some sort of dream, some sort of hallucination type dream. And then both of you two look, and Anu, you can kind of see both Barman and Hanoa, And as you look at both of them, then all of a sudden they are taken into this dream, and
Join
so
us.
all together you all share in this hallucinatory journey that you follow down mine shafts and through caves, and you go into this entire city where these mushrooms and these fungus and these things are all glowing green and purple, and you enter into like an underground chamber that is just absolute phosphorescent beautiful, with strange colors of red and orange and rivers of gold colors which are just going through here. And then within this city you find a large library, and in this library are just scroll upon scroll and books all over, just written in almost every language. And then from there, inside of this library, you realize that there is a door, and in that door you can see galaxies, and you could see multiple stars and galaxies. You enter into this door, and through the door bright lights happen, all different kinds of swirling and chaotic lights, and you come upon the back of a small humanoid, and the small humanoid is sitting there in this darkness, and it's got this shock of blonde hair and turns around looking at you wild-eyed completely, and he's surrounded by these spheres with legs and these squares with arms and eyes, and he looks at you and says, how? And then the last thing you know is that the creature dies, the vision goes away, and Abel, you hear a strange thing as this light goes out of the mushroom creature's eyes, and you just hear this word say, Froly.
I knew it was fucking Froley. God damn it.
And that's where we're going to end.
Oh,
Guess that's
check the chat. Check the chat.
Yeah.
Check the chat DM.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't want to cut you off. I'm
think you-
guessing this is just a story thing, but I would like to try to do something fucking clericy.
Yes, as you reach the hallucinatory thing ends, and you run to reach towards him and cast and lay your hands on this, and it's just gone, and he's been dying, and it's just not enough. It wasn't the wounds, it wasn't the fire. Make a healing check real quick though. I'll allow you to do that.
Shit, that.
Medicine.
Medicine.
I'm sorry, medicine. Yeah.
That's all good.
Fucking Froey.
Ooh.
God damn it, Matt.
That's a 14.
As you realize that spare the dying is just that, and with the medicine check, it wasn't those injuries, and as this thing begins to decompose so quickly, you realize that, like, you quickly grab Abel and you kind of push him back, and you grab your thing as like these tiny foreign red gross looking spores that don't feel anything like what this creature was start to go into the air, as you realize this thing was infected with something heinous.
Best to put some distance between us and.
Yes, and you just grab
Yes.
him and step back.
Okay. Well, fire cleanses all. Let's get the hell out of here, and that's where the story ends. So we will have our rampant climb up the fireman pole, failing athletic checks.
Yeah, I fall, I die.
Fall into spores.
We can go a little bit further if you like. I've got like 5 minutes of something else if you want to.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
5 minutes. Let's get the hell out of this hole.
good. Yes, please.
Okay. Able to pretty much get out of the hole. Who is carrying? Are you taking this large ream of paper
Yes,
with you?
we went to take it. I have rope now.
Okay.
I still had comprehend languages when I got it, so I would want to like read as much as I could.
Okay. All right. But first things first. Are you going to do that down here or are you going to do that when you get out?
We can do it when we get out. I'll
Does
just
it
go
seem like
fast.
that spore stuff is coming
No,
towards us?
that stuff was only affecting either Anu or Abel.
Okay.
And you only noticed it just right then. That was
Fire's purging anything that would.
Yeah. But the fact is that you guys are down in this cavern down in here. Are you going to go up and take this thing out to examine it in better light, or you want to do that down here?
Dwarf don't need better light.
Let's do it down here. Maybe we don't want people to see it.
Okay. All right. So the two of you, you grab the torch, and the two of you are kind of looking over this, and you still got the spell going. One of you is who is holding it?
If it looks like Barman is like reading it, I'll hold it for him.
Okay. As you are holding it, Barman starts to like try to wipe off some of the dust, and he manages to wipe off a lot of the dust, but he also manages to realize that this thing is you recognize it as very, very old paper. This is extremely old. It's also wet. And as you try to wipe off the dust, your finger just wipes through 3 layers of paper, and just writing just crumbles onto the ground. And so you just wiped out like a finger's width of just paper on there. But as you get the dust off, you realize that there are several seals made out of clay on the paper. And before you start trying to read the thing, there's different seals. And you see within the seals symbols. You see a right gauntlet. You see a lightning bolt. You see bison's horns. You see a dragon head in profile. You see a curling musical horn, and you see an owl feather.
That was a lot. I wrote down gauntlet.
I got it all.
Thanks. It's like, well, this is stuff I should write. Symbol, gauntlet, literally what I have. Oh gosh.
Are any of you what are your skills trained in, proficient in, Barman? And Hanoa, what are y'all proficient in?
I am proficient in Arcana, Investigation, Religion, and History.
Deception, History, Investigation, Performance, and Persuasion.
I can't hear him. Can y'all hear him?
No.
Deception, History, Investigation, Performance, and Persuasion.
Okay. Hanoa, go ahead and roll a 20-sider for your religion.
Okay, just religion check or just a 20-sided dice?
Yeah, religion check.
Okay. That's an 8.
Jesus.
You're not quite sure what these are.
Okay.
Fuck it. I'm just gonna wrap it up, and we'll try and dry it out at some point, and I'll stuff it in a backpack or something.
Okay.
Trying to carefully wrap it up so it doesn't like chafe on the sides or whatever.
Make a dexterity check.
Taking your time, the group manages to scale the pole with the light, holding this thing using some twine and or also the rope to bring it up. You guys manage to go out of the hole that's in the wall, and nobody has even noticed. Nobody's done anything. You are completely shocked by the fact that you exit into the cistern and there's nobody there waiting. And with a quickness, you run back to your camp. It is most of the people, including the guards that were there, are all starting to head towards the area where the feast is happening.
That longhouse thing?
The long hall.
So
Okay,
you just see people kind of walking, just talking happily as they're going towards the feast.
So just to make sure that I've got the whole setting right, we've ripped 2 stones out of a stone wall, climbed down a hole, had 2 literal explosions happen, and that was so far away that no one gave a shit. It was all just dampened or hidden, or people are just oblivious to it.
Well, it was 20 feet straight down.
Sure.
and-
No. Totally could. I'm not arguing the logistics of it. I'm just making sure I understand the premise or the physical confines. Because
Yeah.
I gotta tell you guys, if we're gonna leave anyways, and they have 2 storerooms that are perpetually unguarded, and they literally didn't hear explosions inside of that thing, I'm okay with looting the crap out of it before we go. There could be, I don't know, an extra shirt in there or something. The highly valuable shit that we're looking for in our fantasy adventure. So I'm all for that. I'm just throwing that out there. This is casually spoken amongst everyone else. Like,
What were these storerooms for? Because I don't know if they weren't open to our general use, then we would be stealing if we did that.
Generally, you don't really know. If you want to go through and check them out, you can. I just kind of figured it was 11:30 if you wanted to stop.
Yeah, I need to go, but
yeah, let's stop. When we get back to it, guys.
okay.
Yeah. So was that the 5 minutes thing that you had, or was there something else too?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll leave that
Symbol
note for next
gauntlet.
time.
Right.
Gauntlet. Great.
Gauntlet secret thing, which